Couple minutes away here from the latest inflation reading. We'll get you set up for what is to come in a matter of just 2 minutes. We're going to get January CPI, the expected right now 2.9%. So the first one that we'll hope so anyways, have a 2 handle in front of it. 3.4 was the previous, so that's a fairly sizable move to the downside if it does come in on the headline number there for year over year. January inflation 2.9% expected. Core inflation expected to be up 0.3% overall month over month. 3.7 on the core inflation year over year number. Which it should be in line with the forecast, but 3.9 was the prior, if you do remember that. So, minute to go here. This is the final data point, I guess we'll get as far as inflation is concerned going into the next reading from the Fed. So we'll have a look at, we'll dig into this a little bit when it does come out, but we'll have a look at what parts of it are still remaining high.
Yeah, super important because we've been talking about shelter inflation really being sticky. It's been more services than it has been goods as of late, especially since the easing up of the supply chain. But, Brendo and I talking off camera, and we're like, I don't think really the inflation print itself here is important because inflation is continually being an issue. It's just about when the rate cuts come, Brendo.
Yeah, the market has already decided that the problem's over. It's just, as you said, a matter of when. Not if at this point. 10 seconds to go here again. 2.9% expected here. We'll watch this number to see where it comes in versus 3.4 on the prior. Again, January inflation about to come through here. 3.1%. Wow. So higher than expected there. 3.1% versus 2.9 expected there. 0.4 to the upside on the month over month number versus 0.3. Core 3.9%, also higher than expected. Let's go over to the guys.
So much for short the pops. That was the plan of action. What up, everybody? CPI hasn't been as big of a deal recently, but if you get a little bit of a hot print, you're going to get the market heading back down. We were already looking it was pretty bearish when we sat down here today at 0.8 to the downside, and now we're at 1.2. So the arms race maybe is coming to a bit of an end there. We'll see if that's the case. Now, I never want to overreact to the initial move off CPI. That said, I was looking for pops to short. Not going to lie to you there. So we'll have to be very, very patient here. If we're going to give back some of the last couple of days worth of rally, there's definitely a lot to look into and plenty of earnings plays as well to watch here with DataDog, Shop as well. Those are the big two. We don't really care too much about Coke, but they did report as well. So there's a lot to watch. Should be exciting. I was kind of hoping we get a chance. I like the AMD up at 73, and I like the pops on a firm, but hey, now we just have to be patient. The market's down 1.2%. Let it settle down. There's plenty of day left. CPI early move has not usually been the be-all, end-all. That hasn't been true for a while.
I mean, I turned this guy around yesterday when we were up 0.3%. So we're 2% in the money. And I don't know, this is pretty obvious that the market was heading to the downside, but I think it could battle back here. I mean, all this does is hopefully give more pressure to the Fed to go ahead and try to finally cut, right? I mean, now this is a little bit of a hotter number, so we'll see if it can hold out right now on that 3.1 versus 2.9. So as you can see, the futures are starting to sell off. I do think there's going to be a big buy opportunity at some point, but hey, this is what it is, man. I mean, like I said, we turned this thing around for a while. We've been talking about that. I had tweeted something out yesterday. It was a bull and saying like, when are we going to stop running? We had Michael Noss on yesterday. He talked about putting on a short. Congratulations, Mr. Noss, in the triple Qs, which is not loading. But yeah, that's the difference that we're looking for here is a market move to the downside. I'd like to say we didn't think this was going to happen, but we did. And there it is to the downside. Congratulations to everybody got short heading into this. I said earlier when Adair was like, oh, there's another downgrade or upgrade for NVIDIA. And I said, yeah, everyone's going to upgrade everything into earnings because they want to get out. So right now you're going to see, hopefully there will be some selling today. Let's see if it continues, and the rest is going to be history. But it's a nice move down. I do think it eventually gets bought up. Congratulations, anybody that was short. The writing was on the wall. Like I said, I turned that thing around yesterday, and we crushed a whole bunch of shorts. We took $9 on NVIDIA, $40 or something on ARM in total yesterday. I mean, play the short. We'll see if the CPI can bounce from here. I'm going to find some levels once my charts figure themselves out.
All right, lots to consider here. Yields absolutely ripping to the upside. 4.3 right now for the 10-year, 4.44 for the 30-year. So huge move up. That's the dollar. Also, big move back to basically recent highs here, 104.5. Just hearing Fed futures basically pricing out any chance of a cut right through to June at this point. So we'll grab the CME Fed Funds tool. But again, Fed futures just popping up here, pricing out any chance of a cut until June at this point. So again, sticky inflation seems to be sticking around still.
Yeah, this one's not updating quite yet, Brendo, the CME Fed Watch tool, so we'll have to wait for that to pop up. But here is the 4.3 print that you were talking about here on the 10-year, coming into a key resistance level. We were back up here mid-August, and then we descended a bit, so we'll have to see what we do at 4.3, but the 2-year on its way up, almost 4.5 here, Brendo, on the 2-year. Just a smidge below, so we'll have to see what the day brings.
Yeah, just seeing a whole bunch of adjustments coming through here. Even the Bank of England just coming out saying that they're pushing back chances of a cut until later in the year at this point as well. Again, possibly June now as far as the Fed Fund futures are concerned. Even the 2-year back to basically highs at this point as well. Not going to help the cause today whatsoever. That's the overall market back through that 429 on the Qs. If you zoom out a little bit, that was prior support down 1.5 here early on. This one I just noticed, ARM, yeah, down 7, but holding after that monster day yesterday. 135 was that midday area that came into play. So impressive, though, for ARM yesterday.
Yeah. I don't have nothing to say about that. It was the biggest stock on this floor. Sean told you guys that yesterday. It was 1, 2, and 3. A lot of good traders had a trade on that yesterday, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we're only talking about 10% of the float right now that's being traded. Told you guys this yesterday. March 12th is the blackout date from the IPO, or the end of the blackout period. So more possibly volume coming in around then.
Big battle going on right now. Just watching the futures, both the NASDAQ and the ES. Lots of volume going off at the lows essentially right now, but a bit of a struggle here, guys, so far for a bounce.
For sure. And the other thing that we lost just now was 50,000 just got lost on Bitcoin. So bye-bye to that. One of the things that held up really well in the afternoon when it was cash card was on in the middle of the day and that was the market turn, Bitcoin held up really well as the market pulled back. So that was one of those kernels of strength. You saw Mara breaking out in the afternoon. You saw Coinbase ending up pretty strong. But without this 50,000 level, I still think there's some strength in this going into the halving, but that's a couple months away. So we do have to wait for the next catalyst. But rising tide lifts all ships, but I guess it works both ways. I don't have an analogy for that one. If we cannot get back to that 50, it's annoying. I was actually explaining what over-under meant to someone in the chat here in regards to Coinbase, my note this morning. Yeah, you can want short in front of 150, but unless you're shorting it before the number comes out, you have to reassess these things. So like a name that I was looking for, if 50,000 went under, I was gonna short to the double top, obvious double top in Coinbase at 150. Now you've got to reassess that because you're down 3% and you're nowhere near the level that you like. So quick adjustment. I can see the 50 period on the daily at 143. I already had 144 marked off as well. So that can give me an area to work with if there is eventually a bit of a pop here. So I'm keeping my eye on Bitcoin. If in the market weakness that can hold a 50,000 level, then maybe you can find some strength in the Maras of the world to combat what you're seeing with pretty much everything else at this moment.
Yeah, Bitcoin down here for everybody, 49.3. We're really starting to head to the downside right now. I mean, I think that what goes up must go down. So I think you can just short Mara basically at any point right now. Huge move to the downside, 27 down to 25. Looking to see if it can hold right now. But if Bitcoin continues to make a move lower, then as will Mara. So I feel like this isn't going to be a short. Look, the whole day could probably be a short. I feel like we'll find a base and we'll rally back because everybody wants to buy every single name in the market, right? Like how how far do you let a stock like Microsoft go before you dip buy this name? You know, there's so many traders that aren't into this yet. There's a lot of money. We talked about this. There's tons of money on the side. When are you going to buy Microsoft? When exactly are you going to buy NVIDIA? You know, I mean, even this morning, I sat down and I heard about an NVIDIA upgrade. I was like, oh, they're just trying to dump it. So we'll see. Here we go, down 1.5%. Where do you buy NVIDIA? Where do you buy Apple? Apple went down to 180 before and bounced, right? That wasn't even that long ago. So here we go. We're going to see that again in a couple seconds. We were just at 180 back in the beginning of February. Get ready for that again. When do people start to buy Tesla? Probably never. And then the other stock that I know a lot of people are trying to look to buy in on. I mean, obviously, we've talked about ARM, and thank you for saying that, Sharif. Obviously, it's not going to be a stock that everybody's going to be positive on, but ARM is a tricky stock to trade. You take your risks, you take your shots on this name, and today it looks like we could get a big whoosh down. Neil and I both talked about this yesterday. Who in the world was buying ARM up here? This is why we took a $23 winner. This is why it was the #1 stock on the floor yesterday. Huge FOMO both ways. You know, huge on the upside, huge on the downside. And right now, you're traveling up and down and looking to see if ARM wants to break this 132. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in today's market, let alone what CPI just did. I'm working on the sticky note right now, but again, some of the levels, like I really liked Amazon to the short side. You know, yesterday, this was a long that we flipped over to the short that turned out to be great. You know, and then look what's happening right now, bleed to the downside. You know, I mean, a lot of these stocks, if you had enough gumption to sell up here, then good for you. You know, we've been talking about taking some money out, but again, the last couple of days, we've had huge moves up, and a lot of these stocks are still at highs. This is not even a flush. This is just, the NASDAQ was, you know, it can go up or down 1% in an hour, you know? So this can make it all the way back. Just a matter of, you have to ask yourself, when will people come in and start to buy up these monster names that everybody loves, you know? And I think that it's going to be soon. Yeah, yesterday, Graham, we still did well. We finished near the high of the day, but our worst trade, can believe it or not, yesterday. So we had the #1 P&L with ARM and the #1 P&L to the minus side with the Qs. And can you believe it? Yesterday we were short right here on the NASDAQ. Right here. 438, $10 now in the money. It's all about timing when you're trading the futures. We got out when it broke higher, then this started to happen, and we ate on other names. But we'll probably trade the futures today. It's definitely moving around. We'll look for some key levels. Whether or not I trade Qs, the problem with, there is no problem. It's just a matter of share size changing. Like I can use basically this as many number of shares as I want on any name. So it's not that. It's just like this is a $450 name versus a $56 name versus trading SQQ, which is a $12 name. So Michael Noss yesterday on the show talked about taking a long in SQQs yesterday. So here it is, up 5%. We've been talking about that. If you're not staying late and watching the market recap show, then honestly, I'll hit it. There we go. Then honestly, you know, you're missing out. That's why it's a podcast. Make sure you go check that out every day at 4 o'clock. We have the best traders you've seen on the show every single day. We talk about market moves. We talk about potential moves. We talk about what we're thinking about. We talk options. We talk about earnings. We drop the live earnings to you as they happen. And tonight's just going to be another one. Huge earnings tonight. We just had Shopify. We just had DataDog. Let's go talk about those.
Yeah, a ton moving around here. I wanted to mention this real quick. This was that breakdown that we were looking at that you get with every single one of these inflation-related prints. So again, it's energy, essentially, fuel and gas that was downside significantly. Everything else, shelter down here, transportation services, shelter services, less energy, so 9.5%, 6%, and 5.5%. To the upside right across the board. So this is 2 or 3 in a row here, I think, where it was basically energy down, everything else still holding on.
Yeah, for how long though, with all the Red Sea issues, how long is energy going to be down? But to build on your point, the shelter index increased 0.6% in January and was the largest factor in the monthly increase index for all items less food and energy. And for owners, it was worse than renters because It came up 0.6% month over month for owners and 0.4% for renters. So it continues to be an issue here, Brendo. And lodging away from home like Airbnbs and hotels also up 1.8%. A lot of inflation.
Yeah, I was just trying to update this. Yeah, there we go. That's now May. So now 64% for May on a hold. If you go up to June, still showing on this at least, you know, better part of 60 or 70% here on the chance of a quarter point cut. Just hearing Fed Fund futures though, now pushing the chance of a cut or the highest chance of a cut all the way up to July, even from June, coming off this hotter than expected print. So yeah, I mean, there's lots to consider on the individual side of things this morning as well. That's the 30-day Fed Fund futures back to 94 right now, which is, you have to minus it from 100 to understand where the actual percentage is pointing towards. Just seeing VCIG popping up in front of me on a volume scanner. I mean, we're talking about Bitcoin downside as well here. Lots of opportunities on individual equities related to crypto yesterday as well.
Oh yeah, Brendo, and the ridiculous amount of inflows that have been coming into Bitcoin. Here's a little tidbit for you. Last Friday, ETFs purchased about 12,000 Bitcoin in one day. Just by comparison, mining produces about 900 Bitcoins on average per day. Obviously, you're not going to have these ETFs buying 12,000 Bitcoins per day, but it was also the beginning of the stopping of outflows out of GBTC, and now we're seeing inflows come back in there. So we'll continue to watch. I don't know how much this is going to be affected by it, but yeah, 50,000 important level.
Yeah, you mentioned this one as well. Airbnb coming up tonight, downside with this overall market move, but still holding on to, or I guess it did get through 150 there, which is key, guys, even for Airbnb.
Yeah, actually, Airbnb is one that could come into a pretty key level today. But I want to put something in perspective because I saw this in the chat, and I was like, yeah, we got to show this as well. A weekly chart of the Qs to put everything a little bit into perspective. Like, remember when we were kind of getting back into those highs and there was the pullback? It was like, yeah, this is a dip in the market. Went about 10% or so off the 380 level. And then from there, we ended up breaking it out, making all of those fresh highs. If you put on that same move, which that took from July to a bottom in October, right? So July to October, we made that pullback. If you did the same thing, you'd get back into 400 and then this previous high, and you'd still be in an uptrend. So, you know, when we talk about like where would you buy these things, where would you buy things? Like, I mean, Sean was like talking about Tesla and NVIDIA of the world and whatnot. Overall, there's always going to be a level, and you've got to start asking yourself, like, where do we think those supports come in? And I'm going to get to Airbnb in a second, but one of them that I think is not impossible this week is the 200 period on a few names. One of them is Apple. You know, it's been bouncing off the 200 period pretty decently. If it gets to 183, you start looking at that level. 180 has been support. So at least for something like this, it can be, maybe it's obvious. I don't know, the 200 period on a daily SMA is going to be usually pretty obvious. A 180 level that we've already seen double bottom is somewhat obvious. The 180 I don't think happens today. That would be some serious doom and gloom. But 83, that can happen. If we get to that price, just know that that's a big major moving average that a lot of buyers tend to look at on dip. So even in a downtrend, there can be some bids out there. Look, reporting tonight, Airbnb. We know there's a lot of earnings names today. If it's your cup of tea, then I know Sean will go over Robinhood when they report tonight as well. But I'm going to make a guess that more people are interested in Airbnb earnings in that aftermarket show than Robinhood. I could be wrong about that, but they're both there. They're both reporting aftermarket. Robinhood can be a mover. Actually, it's been breaking out a little bit, but Airbnb, I don't think we see the 50 period today on that stock. Almost no chance. Support is at the 142. I love the trend, the way this trend has been going on this stock, because if you like major moving averages, since it broke, hold, that's a dark pool wick, hold the 50 period like a glove, like an absolute glove since it broke back up there in middle of November. I seriously doubt you get a shot at that 142 level. It seems a little bit crazy. There has been some pressure. You saw Expedia on earnings. There's been some pressure in the space. But this is one at least to monitor. If you like this stock, that 142 has been great. Like, look at the support going into it on this move. I think your key level would be like right here, 149, because that's where it broke out from yesterday. That's your low-hanging fruit. Maybe the 45. But for myself, Like if I was trying to buy Airbnb, which I'd consider, I'm not a huge fan of travel right now, but the 142 stands out like a sore thumb. We'll be talking a lot in pullbacks about the 200 and the 50 period on dailies. Those are levels I like. If it's a good company, I like buying it at the 200 period moving average, plain and simple. And I think that's all. You're going to see a lot of that in any pullback.
Yeah, if you're dollar cost averaging, that's the whole point of having it up on your chart. So, I mean, I don't think that's rocket science. I think everybody should probably do that on names you like Neil said. Like, don't just do it on everything. Don't do it on the PayPals of the world. Yeah, well, because if you bought that, I'm sure it's, it's already underneath it. So, but anyways, I was looking at PayPal today, which is why I talked about it just now. I was going to try to short up here, but then, boom. All the levels that I wrote down on the sticky note, unfortunately, are going to be pre-CPI. So I'm just working on getting that out to you. So stay tuned. It will be the sticky note coming up soon. I can see that we have the handsome Jeff Mendel ready to rock and roll very, very soon. So I was actually looking at actually, here you go, Jeff. Let's go. That's SFTBY. Let's talk about a little bit of SoftBank. I don't know if I'm burying the lead. I have no idea what this guy's going to talk about, but I'm going to promote the exchange. So SoftBank, again, a huge move up there the last little while because they own 90% of ARM. And we've seen ARM go absolutely crazy. I actually talked about SoftBank yesterday. I called up SoftBank. I showed you guys the quote. It was about 4 cents bid to ask, which is pretty liquid. And then what we talked about is if ARM is a little too spicy for you, you can come over here to a $28 name. And as ARM starts to pull back, you'll see SoftBank with the same kind of movement, right? So watch out for SoftBank. Look at them, down 5% today with an ARM that was down 9, possibly more now. Now down 11 is ARM, and SoftBank printing in the pre-market here down 6. So again, there you go. That's a little bit of love there for the OTC markets. Let's throw it back over to the desk.
But it never used to be. Jeff Mendel is here, head of broker-dealer sales over at OTC Markets. Good to see you.
How's it going?
Good. Busy morning, obviously, with this inflation data. We'll get to some crypto-related names coming up here in a second. But lead us off, Mr. Mendel. What are you looking at this morning?
Well, Sean, thanks for bringing up SoftBank. I'll give you some credit there. So yesterday it closed at around 29.70, but right now we're seeing an offer out there at 28 right now, and there seems to be a lot of trading happening around that level. For pre-market. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And so that's SFTBY. So that 5-letter ending in a Y, that means it is an ADR. And so this is SoftBank trading here in ADR form. And so great way to kind of continue trading it during off hours of the local listing. But that's SFTBY, and still seeing a lot of action moving. Actually, since we sort of been talking, we're seeing some prints a little bit lower now, down at 27.79. So that's down 2 points, I think, from the previous close.
All right. The overall move in crypto markets has been primarily a Bitcoin story at this point. So we haven't had the participation in Ethereum. I was noticing this morning on even some of my own positions that it hasn't really kept up. But ETHE, good offering if you want to explore that. Number 2 on the most active. I just showed the most active there. SoftBank, number 3 yesterday. Again, this goes back to yesterday's session. There's SoftBank, Ethereum here, number 2, Jeff.
Yeah, so actually, so Ethereum, I think the bigger move was yesterday in crypto. But I'm taking a look right now here in the pre-market, and it's trading right around the previous close, yesterday's close at 21.59. But there is some trading going off here. So that's ETHE, and so this is the Ethereum version of the GBTC that went up from our QX tier up to a listed ETF by Grayscale. There are a few others out there as well too. There's also the Ethereum Classic Trust as well, which is ETCG. So there's other names out there. If you type in Grayscale on our website, you'll see all of them. And the majority of the trading though typically happens in ETHE.
Maybe you mentioned it there briefly, but last time we spoke, we had a couple of questions once again about the different categories on OTC markets. Maybe take a minute here and just do a review once again. I know we've spoken about it in the past, but a lot of people get confused a little bit on what the different listings mean.
Okay, so actually we'll take ETHE for example. ETHE is part of our QX marketplace. So QX is our premier marketplace. It has the highest standards that the issuers need to comply with. And then we have our ventures market, right? So you're a smaller company and you're looking to get access to investors and you want to you want to show the transparency. That is our QB marketplace. So QX is premier. QB is our ventures marketplace. Two great products that we offer here. And then we also have our pink marketplace. And so these are companies, there's a lot of ADRs here that you're pretty familiar with. Take NSRGY, Nestle, right? Nestle is in the pink tier, and it was one of the most actively traded names. So when you're looking to trade and you're seeing those over here, we also have some other things. We go down to like a caveat emptor, which kind of flags that there may be like promotion, or there may be some other things going on in the marketplace. But if you look over there on the side, we really try and bring transparency to the different tiers and the symbols in our marketplace. And so the QX and QB platforms and pink are great ways to kind of look for that and see.
Great to understand the different options when it comes to listings on the OTC. Good stuff. Anything else catching your eye here this morning, Jeff?
Always, TCEHY, Tencent, one of the largest companies in the world. TCEHY, some trades going off here. Pre-market right around unchanged from yesterday. Then also Luckin Coffee, LKNCY, and DIY, which is DD. And so both of those are pretty unique, as in they don't have a local listing, even though they're the 5-letter Ys. But they're both very widely known companies. That's DIY and Luckin Coffee, LKNCY, and they're always pretty active on our platform as well too.
It's been a busy couple of weeks here. There's been one-offs that just pop up during the session over the past few days, even doing all kinds of volume. As always, we'll do our best to pass those along to the masses. Jeff Mendel, head of broker-dealer sales over at OTC Markets. Good to see you.
Thanks, Brendan. Thanks, guys.
Speaking of coffee, while Jeff was on letting you know about the opportunities in the OTC markets, Randy stopped by, fixed the.
Yes.
What did he? No, no, come on, he did that. But he also got us a coffee. No, they're not doing that thing today, because this is one of those, we can't be down over 1% and looking to short pops and then put it on there. But we got to get the refill on of the coffee. I'll do that in a quick little second. But we're still. I keep thinking we're going to get a pop. Some of these levels that we're putting in, they're going to come into play. But the ES and the NASDAQ is still falling. It hasn't really found any support. I mean, until we get down, about 100 points from here on the NASDAQ, you have like a previous low. But we're starting to run away from the most obvious short the pop levels that I'd like to be able to see. And then suddenly if we fall too far at the open, you might just end up looking at, there might just only be some like dip buys. Like maybe I'm only looking at things like an Apple dip buy. Intel's got some levels as well, but I don't want to give up on the notion of a pop. We still have a half an hour to go. There's time for us to get some kind of a bottom that at least you could work into at reasonable prices. I mean, I know where I'm looking. It's Coinbase is probably a little bit far gone, but I still want to pop in that one. I know Affirm as well is going to be in play. That's underneath the 50-period moving average. Just about being patient. I'm not willing to throw in the towel that we don't get some kind of a pop. Usually after an 830 number, there is some kind of reversion regardless of what direction it goes.
All right. Yeah, look, we put the sticky note out. I mean, yesterday, I wanted to really get into Amazon. We were into Amazon short. I really want to get short again here today. I think this will be a name that we want to look at as well. And look, man, I mean, we've been talking all about the short. So, I mean, even Michael Noss just messaged me right now. He's like, wow, we eating today? And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, we've been talking about the short. This is why you want to stay late. This is why you want to watch the market recap show. It's why you want to watch us every single day. I've made a lot of money short the last couple of days. ARM, we took short the last 3 or 4 days. ARM, the #1 stock here for this office the last 3 or 4 days. And been making money long in the back, been making money short here. And I just feel like what we're looking for is the volatility. And today, down 1.7%. The volatility is here, baby. Let's just see if we can be patient and play some of these pops. We do have Adara at the screen.
DraftKings trading low in the day, but getting an upgrade here from Oppenheimer. This one also got a price target increase yesterday from Canaccord Genuity ahead of its earnings later this week. Block here getting an upgrade from the benchmark company. GSK getting an upgrade from Citigroup. And last but not least, NVDA getting a price target increase here from Mizuho. Second one this week for NVDA. In terms of downgrades, starting off the list with 2 earnings names from last week. PayPal with a downgrade here from Daiwa Securities, and Cloudflare getting a downgrade from DZ Bank. We also have United Airlines with a downgrade from Redbird Atlantic. And last but not least, BofA Securities downgrading Duckhorn portfolio, guys.
Oh, some names to dig into there. No surprise on the NVIDIA upgrade, but the Block one is what's going to be. I don't care about whether it's an upgrade or a downgrade in this particular situation. Block is just interesting because it rejected exactly $70 the other day. And since then, you saw what happened yesterday. It rejected a lower high. Well, if you were paying attention, we talked about it a couple times, that it rejected this a second time up at the $70 level. Think we got a chance because look at what this is doing. 50-period moving average. This is not rocket science. Look at it hug the 50-period moving average. If you're getting bearish when there's this much resistance off of a moving average like that, I don't see how you're not looking for shorts up back into this 50-period. It's a simple moving average. It's 69 quarters. So anything popping into that area on Block, maybe we get a push back into 68, previous support. But I'm only looking short on moves up in Square. And sometimes you need some confluence. The market's going down. You want another indication that there's sellers on the stock. Well, there you go on the daily for Square. It doesn't matter to me that there's an upgrade. It's looking at the chart and looking at the levels and the overall direction of the market. And yeah, it's been strong the last couple of days, but you can see the resistance at that 50.
Snapchat making move down to 1130 again. Yeah, so when I came in today and I heard Adara mention that NVIDIA was upgraded, I said, haha, funny guys, just trying to get out before earnings next week on the 21st. Well, guess what? You missed a little bit of your opportunity, whoever that was, Mizuho or whatever. So yeah, there goes NVIDIA. This name is really frothy, and it's going to take 700, and when it does, I would say 660, 670 a play here. Maybe not today, but tomorrow into this 680, I would say is probably a good little spot there. And then we could get into this 600, 620. And then we have earnings coming after that. And then you could get into the 50-period moving average down here at 560. So I think NVIDIA is heading into this 600 area. So again, I don't know what everybody wants to do. I told you I sold some around 720. We also sold some at 620. So, taking a little bit of profit every once in a while, I think makes a lot of sense. I'm just really happy for Michael Noss and for everybody that's been calling the short. I've been talking about that with JC Peretz and things like that, where we're talking Perret, and he's been looking at the things underneath the hood a little bit here, and it looks like we are starting to get a little bit of a downside move. But again, the Fed's not changing their policy. I think it's just getting extended out. I mean, there are still going to be rate cuts at some point this year. This number is hotter, but it's still 3.1 versus 2.9. I mean, it's not a crazy amount, but the problem is now you push everything back. So now you're down 1.7%. The market only has a 5% chance. I just tweeted that out for a cut now in March when it was like 40%. So that's changed a lot here, which definitely will have to change some opinions on stock prices. So yeah, man, a reweighting today. This is why we were short yesterday. And this is not why. It's hard to make a prediction ahead of CPI. It's just that when you finally get the data, you can sort of see the velocity of people jumping out of some of these
shelter
overvalued names.
Well, overvalued, I don't even know
to say.
like some of these names, like the valuation is like nonsensical. We keep like everyone talks about ARM as if they're the only thing that has a ridiculous like PE. Like AMD's is through the roof. We even mentioned
S&P
AMD.
500s is through the roof.
Yeah, it's like 32 change, something like that, and it's been at those levels. And don't get me wrong, there's a few things that you're going to find that are reasonable valuations, but it's not been in these high flying names that have been carrying the market. Although I would tend to argue there's a couple of the Magnificent 6 or 7 that are not as absurd as the AMDs and NVIDIAs of the world. It's the AI and the chip names that have been going absolute haywire. That said, you still got to find those trades. Like we're continuing to not bounce here. So I think you got to be very patient. You know, we're down 1.73% now on the NASDAQ, and if we do this, you could be at 2 at the open. It's hard not to look at 2% down at the open and not start looking for some dip buys. Not there just yet. Apple's about one of the only things I saw that I had some interest in, but we're going to keep hunting for some more, and let's see what's going on with the futures.
First 30 minutes brought to you by Hedgeye. CEO Keith McCullough is an accomplished hedge fund portfolio manager. When his trade signals flash buy or sell, Keith sends a real-time alert to Hedgeye subscribers. You can get a 66% discount at hedgeye.com/TTV. Sharif, tell us.
41, Brendo. That's where we closed off yesterday. We're well below that right now. We're at 49.72. That is the low. Let's go ahead and say support at 49.50. That takes us back to late January. And then again, early Feb, we did hold up at that 49.50 area. Let's see what we do today.
All right, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab that. Very, very simple. You can scan the QR code on the bottom left corner right now, or go to watchlist.tradertv.live. You enter your email address, and then that just shows up automatically every single day. It's very easy. Shopify, downside here, the market obviously not helping to the tune of almost 12%. Comes down to the forecast here, though, for Shop.
Yeah, it was tough to find out exactly why we were down here on Shopify, even before this big move down in the market. It was a beat on the top and bottom line, decidedly beating estimates for both revenue and for earnings. But looks like they did come in a little light, Brendo, with respect to the guide. But they're giving the full year guide, not the quarterly guide. So we'll have to wait and see how they do. But grew gross margins year over year.
Yeah, you said it. Big levels coming into play here. 75-80 range here, guys. Looks great on the daily.
This DBGI right now here reaffirms 2024 guidance, and it's going nuts. That's all anyone's talking about here on the chat. DBGI right now just goes up from $3 on, I mean, here it is right here. So this is guidance revenue 27 to 30 million. This is the key thing right here. I'm just reading this now. Commits to no equity offerings for 2024. So right there, that's going to be a monster for this brands company here, Digital Brands, as it continues to make moves here. And there we go, man. DBGI. I mean, this name continues to get pumped up with no equity offering. Like, what is the
800K?
Yeah, so it's only 800K. So DGBI. I don't know if they are gonna. I mean, if they're not. Oops. DGBI. There it is right here. Oops, DB. Oops. I'm saying it and typing it the other way. DBGI right there. Yeah, 800K. I was trying to find the short 6%. So there it goes, man. Digital Brands off to the races. That's the news that you want to hear no matter what when you are trading these low float names. No equity offerings planned. So you're not afraid of taking the long and all of a sudden getting an offering dropped on you. But hey, I mean, just because they say that, I don't know management enough to say that that's going to be the honest truth or not,
Yeah,
but I don't know. But anyways, there goes DGBI. Look, we said this yesterday about Shopify. You know, it was really heated and huge move up. We broke through that 84. We thought there could have been a possible pullback into the 50 period, but then I said if it does that, then I think we can get the long back through this 84 again. So I don't have it on the sticky note today because I don't really necessarily trade earnings on earnings days. You guys know that. I will have a look at it in case it does get back up. I remember missing Cloudflare. I thought that 108 or something like that, there's a dip down level that we should have possibly had there. But if we break through back through 84, 104. That makes a lot of sense. There's a 50-period retest. The 200 period's down at 64, so that's a ways to go. Yeah, Shopify, it looks like it's basing out here at 77. So let's just see if this is something down here. This kind of a base, 80 to 77. If it can sort of go like that and then break out, then we'll look to take the long. I like the long in Shopify better than the short, despite it being down 11%, but I probably won't be on it today. I'm going to stick with the money-making names, and Shopify is one of them, but probably not today on earnings.
Because it's down over 11%, that puts it into short sell restricted bounce territory. So I like it once it's underneath 77, the 77, 76 area on the daily chart. You got a couple of bounces there previously. That's where I would look. If it starts making a low there, the bounce back to VWAP becomes in play. So I think I'd rather wait for that. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And when something is down that 10%, short sell restricted just means you cannot hit the bid to enter a short position without there being an uptick. So when a stock is sort of cratering to the downside, it's harder for people to pile in by driving it down. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a bounce and an easier relief rally when that happens. So because it will likely opens up down more than 10%, that'd be my first look up. Oh, I just got into this BGLC. Okay, now I'm going to start struggling with one of these names. So this is another low floatish type name. I hit enter. There we go. There's another one of those low floatish type names. I'm playing off the dollar level. It showed you a stair step to the upside here, up 140%, which is nothing compared to DBGI. But it had this nice bottom at the 90 level and then a higher low at the dollar. So I want to go long the buck, give it back into that 90 level, and just see if it can play back into the high of the day. So another one of these low float type runners where it showed me a support level in the pre-market on some higher lows, and I just want to go for the buy the dip, see if we can't get it back toward those highs. Bit of a double top there at 140, but if we get back to 140, we'd be happy with it at this point. So this is a BGLC, not DBGI.
Yeah, crazy, under $1 million on that one. I was just double checking on DataDog. I don't see anything in relation to a call happening. But there was some volume there on DataDog as well. We'll get into that here. Back to the upside, in fact, trying to hold on to 126.20. It's very thinly traded at this point, though. Downside initially, again, comes down to the forecast, it would appear here, for DDOG.
Yeah, bang on, Brendo. It was a beat on the top and bottom line, but the forecast was light, both for revenue and for earnings. So the company's projecting $1.38 to $1.44 a share for the next quarter. The street was looking for $1.77. So down we go. Let's see how we do.
Yeah, it's, again, volume might be a little bit of a concern here for DataDog. My window is not cooperating right now, but I was going to double check on when that actual call was. 8 o'clock it started, guys, for DataDog.
Yeah, with the call going on, that's usually like a stay away zone, especially when you have a call. But then volume is not really indicative of anything that I would want to trade at this point. So unless I see something ridiculous in DataDog, you go all the way back into the low 130s. That seems like an obvious fade zone. I put out this when the earnings dropped, I saw it bounce off 110. I was like, oh, okay, if it opens down there, then like Shopify, that's an SSR bounce play because it was down 15%. It's a huge level on the daily. Anywhere near that number, okay, you might be able to go long in front of the 110 with a reasonable risk. And even if it goes halfway back, you get to 115, 116, you're laughing, even if you only risk a buck. But you're so far away from 110, I got to throw that one out the window. If you get to $1.10, if you get to $110, a lot of things have gone wrong in the market, and we've probably traded a bunch of them, hopefully. So I'll have to sit DataDog out. I think Shopify has a better chance to find a level to at least dip by.
Yeah, so we had Cloudflare the other day come out with quite the report, right? And it got really hit. After that, its best day was its earnings day, all the way to the upside, then just kept getting hit throughout there. Now you're pushing back lower, and now you're breaking back down below $100 again for Cloudflare. So that's not going to be good for this space. But yeah, DataDog, look, I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm not going to trade it. All right, I would say that on this kind of weakness there, I would just go back over, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, where do I want to add to PAN W? Remember I said there was some stocks that are going to be dip buy opportunities We mentioned Microsoft, and I mentioned ARM, because I feel like you need to get into ARM at some point. But PanW is just another one of those names. I mean, I feel like Palo Alto here, when you're talking about cybersecurity, you get the Cloudflare, then you get Datadog. Both those names starting to head to the downside here. I would say, honestly, 330 is a great area to start to look to pick some of this up. Then if you get into the 50 back down here, and then obviously anything in and around 3 bills I really like as well. So I would just say look to PanW here. I could say the same thing. All earnings plays, I find it very tough to trade in the first couple minutes of trade, so I have to let them settle down before I'm going to look at it. So I'd rather not sit here and analyze Datadog at levels that aren't going to mean anything to me. So I'm going to wait, try not to confuse myself because I'm easily confused. Let's go back over to the desk of two individuals who hopefully are not easily confused.
Always. Bitcoin day lows right now, and falling on decent volume as well. It just went through that 49,200 area. Like it wasn't even there. Oh, trying to bounce. But I mean, huge moves across the board on these yesterday. That's Coinbase. We give it all back, all of yesterday, and then some already here, and we're still 15 minutes from the open.
Yeah, Brendo, $1.1 billion of inflows into Bitcoin the past week, $2.8 billion since the inception or the approval of these ETFs. A lot of reasons for this, but one of the main ones is China's adoption of more relaxed monetary policy, apparently according to analysts saying it's leading to an increase in asset purchases. So we'll have to wait and see how we do on Bitcoin with this latest CPI print.
Yeah, already 6% here, guys, for a coin.
The
I was just showing this to Sean, and like, if you're not looking at the ETFs and you're a Bitcoin trader, I think there's some opportunities here, because what happened on this move to the downside is you had an overnight support level at 49.8, very, very clean on BTC. It broke down, it came right back up, wicked that level. Like, how many times we talk about setups like this? Wicked that level, and then you sort of short back underneath. And if your risk there is about 150 bucks, and look at it continue to flush to the downside. Now you're going to have to express that trade in ETF. We'd have to express that trade in ETF, I should say, because here Real Trading right now in our testing of BTC, we just got on the platform. We can only go long here, so we can always go with the ETF for something else. All that said, the outsized moves are in Riots and Maras and Coinbases of the world. I did mention Coinbase, which is nowhere near the level I wanted to short it when I sat down. The 27 level from yesterday has probably come and gone, but you still have yesterday's afternoon support. I love support into resistance. That sits right at the 26 level on any kind of a pop on Mara. And then Coinbase, again, forget about the 150. The 144 would be that level. I don't know that I want to play at 140 just yet. I'd like to see if it can't get back up in front of a previous support level for the curls. But I'm looking to short the pops here in both those names. It's just a matter of which one gives the actual opportunity between Coinbase and Mara. But you know what? Like, the next time I see an even dollar level like that, I might go over to the ETF for that kind of a play. Yesterday, the break of 50,000 was, you could go long, so it was actually a pretty clean break. But the ETF, if it trades that well technically, it's worth a look for any of you out there that are interested in trading it.
So this just confirms that something that we've been saying the whole time is that Bitcoin follows the NASDAQ. So, I mean, that's confirmed now. NASDAQ down, Bitcoin down, starting to get hit really hard. Russell, I've put the request to Mr. Fabian or Ramin. We will try to find the old-fashioned floss animation. So thank you so much. We'll see if we can get it reloaded into the system right there.
Reload this, Russell.
And we'll see if we can do that right now. Neil has the Vegemite there. So just to talk here on Coinbase. Look, we slapped a sell on it down here. We talked about buying it down here. I wasn't as convinced about buying the long for sure, but once it was basing down here, we talked about that. And now it's just kind of hovering around. You're at the 50-period moving average. It's not going to get back to 150 today. If it does, then it's a no-brainer short. I think we talked about that. And then I also don't think it's a horrible long in and around this 136, 137. The only problem is I don't know where this thing stops. So we have Bitcoin in the bottom here. You know, if it starts to turn around, then you're going to miss the Coinbase. So I feel like you want to have it on your radar and really, really try to pairs trade this as much as you possibly can. With this being the leading indicator, I guess it wouldn't be a pairs trade because you don't need to put them both on, but just watch Bitcoin as a leading indicator. And then if we can hold this 49, then 138 is going to look like a genius level. So I feel like you want to take a shot. I can't blame it's only 9:17 now, but I can't blame anybody to try to take a long right now in and around 138. Then if this thing breaks 49, then you just punch out. I mean, the market could open to buys. I'm telling you, this market could absolutely rip off open when everybody opens their eyes and says, what the hell is Microsoft doing down here at 405? You know, when I was stupid enough yesterday to buy it at 420. You know, like this is what people are going to be thinking. They're going to say, oh my God, like yesterday, oh my God, for some reason I went in there and bought, this is why they're upgrading NVIDIA. They want you to buy it. Like, oh my God, yesterday I bought NVIDIA up here at 730. What am I going to do now at 700? You know, so I feel like there's going to be FOMO on people saying, I'm screwed up here, I might as well average in. You know, people don't have patience, so I don't either. So we're going to have to wait for NVIDIA to come back in. I could see a nice move back up here to start with. So watch out for Coinbase and BTC possibly making that move higher. I'm just letting you know what I think, and, you know, we'll see if it matters or not. It's just like yesterday, we were short the Qs early, tons. Like I said, made it the worst stock, and then the tank happened in the afternoon. You know, you're not going to be right 100% of the time. I was talking with a few traders there, even on Twitter, and they were mentioning to me basically yesterday, they're mentioning the same thing. It's like day trading is so much different than swing trading because you can hold something for a few days to let the thesis play out.
Well, in day trading's defense, though, if you like the short and it doesn't work at 9:30, well, if it sets back up at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, then you can just put the short on then. Like for a swing trader, it's like they take their shot and that's it. Like you're in, you have your stop and you just hold it for days, weeks, whatever you're gonna do. But as a day trader, you get to take multiple cracks at it. I think you just, whatever suits your, whatever floats your boat, I think is the phrase that we like to use here. So I think if you like it, you just wait for the next opportunity to do it. Like if I lose, I'm gonna short a pop in one of either Coinbase or Mara. If I lose on it, I'm probably going to find another opportunity.
When you lose on it because we're going.
No,
at
some point.
We'll have to take multiple shots.
And yeah, and a firm too.
I feel like today.
A firm pops, I'll probably take a shot shorting that
Yeah.
too. And if I lose it, I'll probably take another one at it. But it's a matter of just try to get that one good level, keep the risk reward reasonable. Speaking of risk reward, I did jump out of BGLC here because it found resistance at $1.25. Sometimes it's not rocket science what these stocks do. There's your higher low, there's the $1 level, there's previous resistance that goes right from 1 into 125 and then back. I took some out at 115 and then some out at 125. When this opens up, if it gives me another dip buy, I'd rather it be off that 90-cent level, and I'll try to catch that one and see if that can't be a bit of a rally. But I like to get in out of these. I tend to want to take profits and take a range if I can. So if you can get that sort of 2% move in there on tight risk, and then go for the next trade. That's the way I prefer to trade these because they can rug pull this any second, whether it's this or DBGI. You know, these kind of low float names. After the open, I'd feel better about letting it ride if it shows me buyers after 9:30. Back to the desk because we got to talk semis.
Yeah. All right, if you missed it or just joining a little late, a little recap. Inflation, yeah, still a problem. Not as big of a problem, but still a problem. Comes in hotter than expected for January, putting this in jeopardy, according to Benzinga. Shout out to our friends over at Benzinga. If you want a discount on Benzinga Pro, check out the description. That is the SOX ETF. $610 trying to hold here for the ETF. I mean, these things have been so incredibly strong over the past couple of months. More positivity. It's not going to matter much with the overall move in the market today, but more positivity here. Specifically, guess what? Around NVIDIA.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Down 2% right now. AMD also down 3%. The reason I mention that is because Mizuho Securities analyst Vijay Rakesh upgrading both these, or not upgrading, increasing the price target for NVIDIA to 920 and AMD to 200, citing good upside potential. Keep in mind, though, that we're up aggressively, or we were anyway, on NVIDIA, about 46% up this year, as well as AMD about 17%. NVIDIA is scheduled to report earnings on February 21st, and yesterday it actually overtook Amazon in market cap ever so briefly.
Yeah, Google as well, I saw very briefly there. 133 was that last low for ARM yesterday, meanwhile. I mean, this thing's trading in $5 clips, so tread lightly if you're going to play with ARM today.
You just adjust like your playbook a little bit. That's one of the things we were mentioning in the lesson of the day yesterday, which was when something enters like the squeeze phase, it doesn't matter what kind of squeeze it is. Once it enters the squeeze phase, which is what ARM was in, you go from trading it, maybe risking 50 cents to $1 on a $100 stock to it's going to move $5 at a time, and you just got to make that adjustment in real time. All that said, I think, look, I sold half of my ARM position because I thought this was a little bit nonsensical at 120, and then midway through yesterday, I was like, why am I not just getting out of all of it? But long term, I plan on holding that second half forever, even looking for a dip to buy if it gets under 100 again. If we get back, I don't think we get back near the 150 level. I think you throw that a bit out the window. But the 135 to 140 range, anything in here where we sort of fell off at the open is where I would wait to see if you can catch some kind of a pop to sell into. I think AMD presents, at least for myself, oops, I didn't cancel my AMD offer. I was trying to go short. If there was a short to pop at 9:30, I was on the offer of an AMD to go short if CPI had taken us higher. But that didn't happen. If we bounce now, I just simply look to my first support level, which was 169, right in here. If we get up there, I'm going to look to fade AMD. It's not changing the plan, it's just changing where we're executing because the price has moved. That simple. So, instead of 173, which would seem obvious, 170, if it gets there, I'd probably take more than one shot at this. So the 169, the 170 on pops, I just want to be short underneath those numbers. If there's a long in the chips today for me, I feel like Intel is the one setting up the best. It's got the 43 level for support, and it definitely has this 42, call it 4230, 42 to 4230. So it's a bit of a range. If it gets that far to the downside, then you got to give it some room because now you're not talking about 50 cents at a time on Intel. So Intel has to get down around that 42.5 or just hold 43 right away. It would be the one I'd at least try for long. Otherwise, short them pops, and short the pops. NVIDIA, I'm not really messing with NVIDIA. I just like the AMD levels a little bit better, but you should watch for 700 on NVIDIA. I feel like that is, if there's one of these that breaks at the open, I don't want to short bottoms, but that could be a 700 break that some people are going to get involved in.
Man, chow to BTC here, man. 48.6 right now. As the NASDAQ gets worse, and so does Bitcoin. So see you later. Look, we've been really trading chips, obviously, the last couple months, and always to the upside. The one name that I've been really short on, and I feel like it might be P&L wise, I think NVIDIA is going to be my number one name. ARM might even be taking that over the last couple of days, but honestly, Intel. I mean, we've really traded Intel quite well through all of this. So we keep on shorting pops. It keeps on working. So today's no different. I don't really care where the market is. We just got to trade this name to the short side. I had written down on here, obviously, $45. When I wrote that, we were at 43.80, 44. So I was like, a key level that I really wanted to look at was 45, and I don't think it's rocket science. Look at yesterday. Here's 45 right here. So I was just hoping that if the CPI, if this candle went this way, then we'd be right here, but unfortunately it didn't. So now we're going to have to look at shorting in and around here, most likely 43.50-ish in change. So like I said, this would not surprise me at all if half of this comes back into the market almost immediately. So let's just wait to see what happens. Again, 44, I'm going to change my short. I was going to be 45. Let's just go to 44. Like, as if Intel can get anywhere near there, I feel like it's going to be a short. But again, it would not surprise me if these futures rally back up here about 100 points, even maybe a little bit more than that on the open. I don't know if we'll take VWAP, but I could see a nice rally back here immediately on the open. Let's see if we're right. I'm not willing to go long right now. But if Intel ever does have any kind of movement, I want to short it. And then, like I said already, it's a fugazi, this stock, NVIDIA. Just keep upgrading it, guys. It's not going to work. Earnings are coming on the 21st. This name will get hit today for sure. We've already bounced off 700. We shorted this name yesterday. We shorted it the day before. We've been talking short in the market for a while. Let's just see what happens now. NVIDIA finally getting the juice now with the NASDAQ. finally getting the juice to give up some of this. Will FOMO come into the name? Yes, it will. At what point? I don't know. I think a reasonable buy is in and around 680, and I could see that happening today.
PayPal, we saw on the downgrade side of the board this morning from analysts, 3.6% right now. I mean, this thing was down anyways off of earnings. So more jumping on the bandwagon here. This is 58 bucks trying to hold desperately for PYPL.
Yeah, a couple of comments on this name today, Brendo. One is from Macquarie. They're maintaining coverage without performing a target of 75. However, Daiwa Capital's Kazuyua Nimashura, sorry if I butchered that, actually downgrading it to neutral and lowering the price target down to 62 from 64. So a couple of contrarian little opinions here.
It's worth noting oil's back to the upside here in a pretty good way. Some volume on oil futures right now as well, higher.
Before, I might have said yesterday Oxy was reporting today. I apologize for that. Oxy reports after the bell tomorrow. I'm 99% sure I said that. So that'll be on the market recap show. I'll be interested in Oxy because I made a swing that's not going anywhere on that bad boy. But PayPal, this is what we've been talking about. You can want something to happen, but when the numbers come out and the stock tanks like $3, you've got to adjust. So I mean, 58, 59 instead of 60. I kind of pivoted to Square, and I was sort of talking about that one. It's got some levels to work with as well, previous support to resistance. So you're going to have 67 area and the 68 area that I think can come into play on that one. But I'm really just thinking short the pops here and what comes in first. My gut is telling me that it's going to be one of the chip names, Affirm, or one of the Bitcoin-related names that's going to come in first for a short. I doubt I'm going to get into Square unless something extreme happens at the open.
Yeah, so I wrote down here on the sticky note, you can go find it at Trader TV Sean, 60.50. But as Neil just mentioned, we were looking at that name when we were up here at 59.50. So I thought like a $1 bump into that level would have been something, $60.50. So unfortunately, that's not coming through. And now it's downside. I just put an offer at 59 for PayPal. So that's something that I like there for this one. And we're going to have to wait to see where we go in this market as we only have a few more minutes before this happens. Look at this, Warren Buffett right now. Look at these dividends that this guy's collecting, $5.2 billion in dividend income from just these 7 stocks. So go have a look. It's just interesting because Oxy reports and Coke was today as well. So that's he's correcting me, just about $6 billion in dividends this year. A paltry $6 billion in dividends. All right, 15 seconds, and here we go. I'm going to be looking to short some Intel off the jump. We'll have to watch that crazy stock called ARM and see if that can extend a little bit. Here we go. It is 7 seconds. It's a Dara. That's a chicken. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Adair's like, what the hell is they talking about with a chicken? There was a chicken on screen there. That's my desktop.
Should be.
Yeah, that's my desktop over there, the Trader TV Live chicken. Because we will have, I'm not going to hit the chicken dinner winner because I don't have anything on board yet. But let's go. We did talk about a possible move up. Let's just see what's happening. Bitcoin right now, 49er in change. We're going to have to wait to see what happens right now. See if there's any of these names to buy. JP Morgan heading nicely up to the upside. JP Morgan and some of these bank names starting to go.
Like AMD just broke the lows. Forget about shorting the pop. AMD just flushed $3 here. Tell me like a firm or something is making some kind of a move that we can fade. And again, we're just sitting at these lows. You always want to be patient. Patience is a virtue. But this is one of those days where if you don't get, I don't want to short the bottoms at 9:30. You know, it is what it is. So we're going to try to be patient with it. But you saw like AMD flash to the downside. BGLC, I adjusted to where I wanted to dip by to in front of the 90 level. Looks like it held that dollar level again. So this small cap, it's about to halt. So BGLC is going into a potential halt at 122 here. I missed that dip. I'll cancel that order. I don't need that sitting out there in case it opens lower. But bit of a miss the second time through on BGLC. It's now halted upside.
Okay, so we were right about a little bit of a market bump. I mean, Google, not the market, but some of these stocks. Google went from 143.50 all the way to 145.50, and now is trying to figure itself out. Google down 2%. I don't mind shorting it against that VWAP, which is right there at 145. So if Google does make a move back up to the upside, I kind of like that short. But there we go, we're short into it now. But just against 145, we can get the heck out of here if this does break on Google. So we have to be a little bit patient with this one as market's starting to bounce a little bit, as we kind of called. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like we didn't call that. That high right there is 145.20 right now for Google. So we're going to put a stop in and around there.
So Shopify was a potential SSR play that we were talking about off the bottoms. It just tagged 77s and bounced here. So down over 10%. You know what that means? Well, if you don't know what that means, short sell restricted. We'll probably get into it if you're not sure. But I want to look for the long off that first even dollar that held. So any kind of dip back in that gives me a shot at that 77 level, you got to trade what's in front of you. And at least this is giving you some kind of level to work off of, because we're not going to get that short the pop we wanted in some of these other names. No question about it. Intel's at 43. That is also potentially setting up here for a bit of a bounce long. I thought we'd get 42.5. for that, but if it wants to hold that even dollar level, look at the wick under. That's a bit of a liquidity grab. I like the higher lows for a scalp back to VWAP in situations like that.
All right, here we go. Let's give some props up at least. Here goes Google now down in the money, 25 cents. We do have a new position in AMD. There goes Google. Let's see if it can fade, man. I'm bidding some 22s. Right now, we'll see if we can get a little bit lower. We did take an AMD short, but this one may be short-lived. As if we do get too much above where we are right now, 167 and change for AMD, we're going to get out. But we already took a little bit of profit on that trade, but not that much. So we'll see if the futures want to run up or down right now. But hey, man, we're 2 for 2 right now, trying to be patient. I don't know. This Google trade could not work out. I mean, we're short at 67. We just got a couple fills. We just bounced off the 50 period of 17 there. So yeah, I don't know. But we're going to be short here just for a minute to see if this does want to work out. I said we could rally here off the open. So it's 9:33. The market's thinking about doing something here. I'm going to zoom in to get a little bit of a better look. We're still bouncing off the 50 period. Here comes AMD. It looks like we did it again here.
AMD looking like it's a weak one. What's actually very strong right now is Tesla. We didn't really talk about Tesla. Apologies for that, but it's about to break the 185. I like 190. You can forget about that anytime soon. Got to watch this 185 pretty heavily.
Bye-bye.
Intel is now gonzo. Well, not gonzo. Gonzo from the 43 level. So it turns from that into load. There we go. It turns from that into first opportunity at a fade. I'm still sitting offer on AMD. I'm a little bit higher. And, of course, Square, Affirm, and those crypto names. So if we're back underneath 66 on Square, I think I want to take a shot at this one off the local high. We wanted the short pops. If it doesn't get to 67, I'm just going to play even dollar setups every single chance that we get. Riot and Mara and Coinbase are also in play. Mara is making a bit of a bounce. It's starting to get to the first level that I wanted to look short, which is that first even dollar. You can see the 25.5 I got marked off here.
All right, so we were able to get a decent fill there at 40 for 40 cents or so on AMD. It's here right now. So here's another 40 cents. Let's see if it wants to continue to the downside. It looks like Google's trying to get a little bit of breath up here. So we'll try to short a little bit more. We already got some decent fills, but definitely, I apologize for these charts. Like, I can't just sit here and edit these wicks like over and over again. So we're gonna have to wait for them to eventually get going. But yeah, there is some pushback here in the market. So let's just be as patient as we possibly can. We keep saying that, but that's what I mean. Like, there's no point in rushing into anything right now. I'm going to get out if this takes 167.20s or so, just because that's about how much we're taking on this trade. We did re-average into Google, but again, we have a target of this one breaking 145.20. So if that happens, that happens. Here comes the market. We mentioned it possibly going back up to the upside. So the name that I want to short is Intel. So there goes AMD. Out of AMD, small hit there. But Intel is the name that I'm looking at. Look at this. Here we go. Here we go. It's not a dramatic move, but it is starting to get bought back up. We said that names like possibly Softy, so on and so forth, could get bought up again as well. So let's watch out to see if this does happen. We are short here on Google, and Adara has something.
Really nice pop right off the open for TripAdvisor. TRIP up 16% right now, announcing that they've formed a special committee of independent members of the board of directors to evaluate proposals. So nice look here for TRIP up 16%, guys.
Okay, well, I got a new position alert. I feel like that's a little louder than it usually is.
I like that.
Maybe that's just on us. I got a couple of the animations that I needed to get for a while now. Thank you, Fabian. But 168, the even dollars come into play. This is still a wipeout bottom at the open, that candle. So you got to watch out for potential breakouts here. If it gets past 168 quarter, I'm going to give up the ghost looking for that short on AMD, because if it can't hold this, I think we just got to get away from that. Square still holding pretty much at the money somehow, despite this market rally. This is wild. Like, Intel's only at 43.50. Like, it felt like that should, like, we were just screaming into the upside, and it's holding that 50 level. I don't think we're going to see the even dollar there.
No, I almost think.
I don't want to
I
wait
almost
for.
think this is a long.
I don't want to wait for. See, you get the FOMO because you're like, oh, is it going to get the even dollar? If it breaks from the 43.50 level on Intel, like, I feel like you're getting the money fills closer to that 44 area. So I'm into AMD here. Give it to that local high. But if it gets back down to 167, should take something out. Try to respect it. Square's making a power move. Tesla still looks incredibly strong. And just for anybody still in the ARM trade, this is now bouncing once again. Rationality be damned. It wants to go up. I'm going to leave it alone until it gets to some kind of a ridiculous level. If it goes ludicrous speed to the upside, that's when you take your shot at it.
So we called a 100-point move higher. Right now, it's 40 points higher from this bottom. So we'll see. We're starting to go. So again, it sucks to have made those calls and then just sitting and waiting for shorts to start to work out. We did get out of AMD. It's less than a cup of coffee. Trust me, I bought that matcha tea there. We were making some money yesterday on Disney. So this is a new position short, though. Yesterday, we ran this stock long. Let's see what Disney wants to do right now. It's right here at this 109. That's going to be a level that I'm going to be in and try to get short on all day right now. But again, like I said, we don't really need to do anything. The market is doing exactly what we thought it would do, and that's go to the upside. And here I am sitting in these shorts. So I'm already a little bit like meh right now on all of this. So let's just wait to make sure that we're right. We can check in on Palantir quickly to see what that's doing, up to 24 and change. Again, like, look, there it is. There's the bump back up. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's experience. Maybe it's whatever. But I had a feeling that we were going to head to the upside. Now we may be slowing a little bit down. We just had that wick right there. That could be something on the futures, right back into these highs. So let's now see. We're well short, man. We are well short. Disney, we are well short. And I need to address this one because we just got some more shares there on Disney. So let's punch a little bit out here at 76. And here we go, man. Disney, do not go into the gates of hell because it's a good personal account for me. Well, whatever. We're long at like 80 and change. But right now, Disney, let's see if it can fall back in just a little bit, as 50 Cent says. And we'll see if this one can make a nice move to the downside here into 108.50. It's a position and it's a doozy. Hopefully it's going to be Disney. Let's see if the market pulls back a little bit.
We're going to go quickly to Derek, but I got it of AMD when it broke that stop. Square is holding at the money right now, but Mara is at 26, so it's at that next even dollar level. Looking for the curl right here as we go to the desk with Adara.
Another small cap runner on watch here, DBGI, this digital brands group, reaffirming its 2024 guidance and committing to 0 equity offerings for 2024. Important to keep in mind here, float on this one is below 1 million, so it's 980,000 shares, up 200+% right now, DBGI.
The monster is in the building. Yeah, we talked about DBGI. What a great stock that is. We're going to go with this. Ring some cash registers now because we took a big position on Disney. Let's see if it continues to go down now, man. We are now 40 cents in the money. We discussed this trade. Let's go. We didn't have a bid down there, did we? Oh no. I just put a bid. Oh, you had a 56 bid. Okay. I just touched 42, and we did not have that bid. So
you always bid 42.
Yeah, we should have. Here we go, man. Google downside again. We're gonna see if basically we can go 2 for 2. This AMD trade is going to be a loser, but we took money and then got out for flat. So it
ain't over
it's
yet.
not a loser really at all there for AMD. But we're in the big guys right now. Google heading to the downside, Disney really starting to go, but although we did miss that very bottom, I'm going to put another bid here at 53. The big trade here, that's going to hopefully make my day will be this one. And that will be, let's go. Let's bring Google down a little bit. I just took a 64. This is a day maker for me. Both of these positions are. Let's see if they can continue to go to the downside. We just talked about a possible bid there on the NASDAQ that got faded. So let's see if the market now wants to agree with me and come back into the downside. We have our stops. So if they do stop out, they do stop out. So let's get to the downside and see what happens.
Go ahead, punk, make my day. You said make my day. I'm like, I'm waiting for it. I'm not going to sit here and do impressions, but who gives a damn, man? I absolutely love Dirty Harry. He was legit. Let's get back to Mara. We waited patiently for this. I was more patient with Mara than I was with Square. I was like, get the pop, short the pop. And I'm still getting a bit of FOMO over Intel because it did break the 50s and went only to 60. But Mara popping out into 25. I'm going to respect a bounce here would be that previous support level. If it holds onto that, you can retest 26. I'll jump out, take some profit and run. I was much more patient here than I was with Block, but Block headed right back down into those lows. If we get 65 quarters, that's the next bid. That's about 50 cents in the money. We'll see if we can't get a little bit lower than this. And the FOMO is real for Intel. Look, we talk about this all the time. Like, it didn't feel like it was having a lot of trouble at 43.5. I was like, oh, if it breaks higher, you could get that even dollar level, but we're not going to get the even dollar level on Intel. Market go down.
Yeah, market go down. Google's trying to go back up to the upside. So again, we're going to have to watch some of these trades and make sure that we have the right positions on. You know what? I really liked. We'll wait. So we did get out of Disney. We didn't get out of it all, obviously, but we did get out of some Disney down there. We have less than half of that position. I was thinking about Amazon. Like we mentioned this possible move back up to the upside. Amazon just put 250 on that move. Like they were down here at 166.50, and it's up 169.50, $3 Amazon put up there. So wow, yeah, and here comes Disney screaming back. Yeah, man, that sucks to have thought this could possibly happen and sitting into some shorts. So okay, that's fine. Like I said, we're just gonna have to wait. We're not day ruiners here or anything like that on little moves. So it's only
day
9.
Traders, not day ruiners. I like that.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, if you use bigger shares, you got to have tighter stops. So our stops are where they are right now, and they're pretty tight. So if Disney does break in and around this 109-ish, we're going to get out of that. But here it comes. Nice little fade. Okay, that's happening for us. What's not happening for us right now is Google. We said 145.22. That's sort of been, I wish I could zoom in a little bit. That was sort of some of these wick tops right there. It's 145.23 or so. That needs to come back. But what's coming back in right now is the reloaded one. That's a face slapper. One more time. This will be a big stock here for Disney. But again, it could blow up. Let's just continue to take some out, make sure that we're right on this, and then hope for a pullback a little bit in Google. I mean, the market's making the move we thought it would, but again, we're only short. So let's just wait for that. AMD's dropping a bit. Yeah, I mean, I could probably get back into that, Jay Lee, for you, but for right now, I'm into these shorts. Yeah, there's AMD off the 200. Yeah, good call. I mean, that's something there for sure. Check back in on ARM, 135 and change. The damage I'm about to do on ARM could be soon, but 138 is trying to hold on ARM right now. So we'll have to wait to see if that is a level. I still feel like it's a little early for me to step into ARM, but we'll wait. Hopefully this market pulls back, but it's really Disney's. Yeah, I'm on the wrong stock.
Well, the NASDAQ's making a bit of a curl here. If you're watching the market, there was this bounce to the upside. Now I just jinxed it. We're now curling off of that local high. That's a 15-minute chart on the NASDAQ. I took a couple of legs out on that way back up. Mara did bounce off the 25 level. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. When it did, I got some out at the quarters. Now I'm holding for the 24 bottom here on Mara. Block as well, working to the downside. Took another leg out here. Again, pre-market support ends up being a little bit more at 65.5. So we'll see if we can't hold that one into the low of the day there. So got to respect some pep in the step of the market, but I still am holding the shorts that are working. A firm's not even going to let you in. A firm's down 10%. Yeah, there's where's the pop? You got to be super patient with this because at this point, a firm is now a potential SSR bounce, which is not how I was expecting to trade that one off of the open. No way, shape, or form. Intel is retracing back to 43.
There it goes.
So if that's all we can play with, maybe I look for the long off the 43 area. We'll see. If the market goes up again, Intel off 43, I'm not looking to long Affirm. Intel long off 43 looks like a potential support level for me. But I'm going to hang on to the last of these shorts, see where we can go.
All right, guys. There it is, man. Google goes all the way to the top side. We were starting to get some out there early as it started. Whoops. Man, these charts. Right there, 145.09, and then we punched out at 145.20 as it took the top. So there goes Google. We'll be out of that one. Crazy that the market is going, not crazy. The market's going upside. We thought we could go up 100. We're now up, we're only up 40. So I got to find better names to short because obviously Google is not one of those as that's still going to the upside. Maybe some Alibaba could be in. What's Bitcoin doing? 48.8, looking maybe at a GBTC.
Oh my gosh.
Or something like that. Shopify's probably up. All right,
82.
let's go over to Adara.
Another earnings name on the move here. This one reported last night. GT, Goodyear Tire and Rubber. So this was an EPS beat and a sales miss. Down 11%. Pretty strong volume here. GT, guys.
Yeah.
Good. So Shopify is gone. The SSR bounce played out. This wick down here, I can tell you, it never got to the evens. That's a dark pool wick for sure, because I was sitting at 12, 77.12 to catch that dip by. Now you're too far gone. DataDog, which is the other earnings play. This is now DataDog's green on the day.
Yeah.
It's already positive. I don't even know what I do with that. Didn't expect that to happen. But if I get along, it's now looking like it will be Intel on some kind of a higher low because that's a support level that I do like. Still riding with Mara a little bit here, but it's starting to level off underneath 25. So we're going to hunt for that low of the day, see if we can't grab that. Want to respect what is working, and if the market does bounce, got to find a couple of respectable longs out there that aren't just me looking at Intel, which was part of the plan at 43. Everyone keeps asking in the chat, what's the tap on BGLC? I also have to fail on myself for not getting back in on that dip buy. It's halted 4 times now, and the indicated open is $1.94. So, like I always say with this, when everyone broke taking profits, this is a low float runner that is clearly running out of control.
Okay, so we did get stopped out of some Disney, but not everything. We did buy some more back in there on Diz. It's still a positive stock for us. Obviously, we're holding on to this right now as a pullback in for Google is happening. It did get... Yeah, it sucks. I might not even look at this because I can't even look at the charts. But, okay, here comes Disney. Yes, sir. Finally, a little bit of a pullback in. Thank you there for Disney. Oh, man, that sucked that we had sort of got stopped out on Disney at the top side there. But then we faded it back. Well, we didn't get stopped out of it all. We put some on. We got stopped out at 09. We saw it only went as high as 05. So, sorry, 109. We saw it only went as high as 05. So we just punched it back through. So that's why we still have that same price, 109. So I'm just going to start to take off 20, 30 cents here at a time if we can. We do have a new position, though, and it's going to be Tesla. Let's see what happens here on that one. We are short at 185. I was trying to hold this to this 186 area. Again, like I said, if we can pick on some names that have been short during stronger markets, right? Tesla's just one of those funny stocks, man. It can really tank on us or really rip. And giving, not too many highlights today or catalysts for Tesla. Let's just see if it wants to continue that move. But, I mean, we bounced off 182 in the pre-market. 182 has been so damn good for so long. So we'll take this average up. I'm going to get out if we take out 186.25, which is right in around here. So, again, try to hold this for $1, but at the same time, we'll scalp it out if we can get part out down here. The other thing was I wanted to average in a little bit more, up and around 185.50. So let's see if Tesla can be that stock and get us back in a little bit. Downside here at 184.60 is where I'm trying to bid, understanding that we are right at VWAP right now. So this is a slippery slope here. We need this market to crack the 50-period MA, which it's trying to do. Let's see if it does, though. And let's go over to Adara.
OMH, Oh My Homes, another small cap trying to get moving today, up 350+%. No news on this one today. It does have a float of 6.6 million shares. Last week announcing some growth updates, OMH.
Like I'm looking at, I just got back into AMD, and it's like a firm just only dropped today. Like it dropped, and then it dropped some more, and then it dropped some more, and then it dropped some more. Meanwhile, like we're at the level I like, so I'm taking my second shot at AMD, and I said this would happen on some of these names where if we pop up, I might take a couple of shots at it. So the 69 level, first it was 68, now playing off the 69 level, giving it to that quarter mark, but if it pops out, it pops out. But we talk about this all the time. You can be, there's two things. One is be patient. Two is, if at all possible, short weak names, long strong names. If at all possible. Sometimes it's not always that simple, but if you can try to make it that simple, your day's a lot easier. Like Mara came up and I had to short it. Square came up and I had to short it. You could have just sat on the offer at the open on a firm, which you know we think is a dog, and Bob's your uncle. It went 5 cents against you at 42. Maybe 10, but it's at $40 now. Crazy.
Oh, we just got missed. All right, we'll take a small position here in the 60s on Tesla. We're at 80. I told you we're trying. If we have to lose $1 on this, that's what we have to do. 186.30. If that breaks higher, that breaks higher. Like honestly, there for Tesla. So let's just wait to see. We're now short a little bit higher, so we can put a bid in and around 185, like 185 flat now in case we do make the move down. But look at the futures. Like once again, I'm just picking the wrong names here. It looks like the futures are starting to go downside here, and Tesla's only going up. So yeah, maybe we should just go over to the futures and have a quick look.
Rivian 15.
At all. Rivian's at 15 again? Oh my God. So once again, like I should be short Rivian and I'm short Tesla. So
I bet you Lucid and oh my goodness. So
Rivian's at $15 flat?
Sorry, I'm just double checking
What the
Lucid.
hell's wrong with this name?
If there's a chance to catch a sympathy short on any of these EV names, you know I'm going to be all over it. But it's yeah, that's too late. It's too late. I'll go back to AMD. I mean, come on, man. $15. Remember that. Do not forget how often we've talked about this $15 area on Rivian, especially at the open. Especially at the open. It bounced off 1503. It's already at 20s. I'm not chasing it. No FOMO. Don't chase. Don't chase. Say it to yourself like a mantra. But second shot at AMD, we went 0 for 1. I just got some 168. 40s. The wicks on this chart make the scaling really bad. VWAP's here at 168 even. I will take some out there 168 even for just under the buck. Got to make sure we get something on this upward trending stock. So if it puts in a bounce off VWAP, then I'm taking 2/3 out and trying to roll with those profits because this is still trending back into set upside. Intel for the long at 43. Yeah, thanks Intel. I'm sitting at 43.03. Let me just cancel that and try and find a different entry price. I'll look for another hold at this level before I get into it. Square is now chilling out, working about 75 pennies in the money.
There goes the market.
Working toward that low of the day. But the market's blasting upside. So if it holds 65, I'm jumping out of this as we go to Adara.
Yeah, massive drop here for DWOG, Digital World Acquisition. I'm not seeing any news on this. Yesterday, they did enter into a retention bonus agreement with TMTG effective as of February 12th, so the day it was filed, but now we're down about 10%. Strong volume drop to the downside with this one, about 29 million shares, guys.
All right. So Tesla is like not really working as there goes the market. Like, market could go up 100 points from here, you know, and it's up right now 80. So let's see if we can continue, man. Here's the 100-point mark up to 17.7. I guess we have to wait. We just have to wait and try to be as patient as we can with this. So Tesla, we took one out down there at the 40s. Then it broke through 186. Now it's just going to go upside. I told you this is what we do bad. We sit there and we average into something. This is not like on a day like today when we get that CPI number, it's not going to be good. All right, so Disney's still in and around this area. See, this is what makes me think about getting back in. Like we barely get stopped out, and then it's like, oh, I got to get back in now to Disney. But let's just be patient with it and see if we can wait. I mean, Tesla's the one that could fall, I think. 185.50. We have some bids in and around there, so if that does happen, man, this is paining me to see what Disney's doing. Disney back into the 80s right now again. Yeah, so that kind of sucks. But all right, Disney going to the downside right now. Probably Google. Google's heading higher, so that's okay. It's really Tesla's the only position I have, so this is what we really need to worry about. I'm going to look for some more here.
I'm only into one thing.
Yeah, we talked about Microsoft, and that would be the name that traders would possibly come in and buy. That's up about $3, I guess, 404.40. up to 406.40, $2 and change here on Softy as that's trying to go. I don't know, man. It's 10 o'clock, and like I'm not like I'm looking at my charts. I'm trying to find stuff. Like not much is really setting up.
I'm going to use this for the last time.
Yeah, go.
Because it's no longer football season, but whatever. Shout out to the Chiefs. Good for you. Square just bounced off the lows as the market made another leg up. So I said if it bounced off the bottom, I'd take the profit and look to short it back upside. If we get it, we get it. I just want to make sure we're banking profits. I'm trying to stick to what has been working recently for me at the open, which is if you get a range that you can play inside of, take your profit and look for the next trade. That's been more consistent. And then after the trend is established, after the first half an hour, then I want to look for things that are holds. So I'm going to take the profit and run there. Mara as well, which we're still holding on to. That's been solid. It's AMD's been the one that sucks because I knew we'd take a couple shots at it and we went 0 for 2 there, but then like everything else has worked. BGLC the long and the 2 shorts that we have on here. Mara, I want the 24 level, but this market's now starting to get some legs underneath it. So if it holds a higher low, I don't want this getting back above 25 on Mara. So I'm going to make sure I have a trailing stop in there. I need to cancel my Shopify orders because those are so far away at this point. ARM was the short Hamptons trader. I mean, if it's not AMD, probably. Yeah, look, hindsight's always going to be 20/20. My plan of action was 168, then 169 on AMD. I guess it could have been scalped better by myself, and instead of going 0 for 2, probably could have gone 1 for 2 out of those if I do it a little bit better. But ARM clearly was that. I wanted ARM making moves into the 140s, is what it is.
All right, guys. I mean, we're short here. We're 70 cents in the money on AMD or so. We just shorted that. Let's wait to see where it goes now. We had to be a little bit short. We're short at 90s. We just got out at 40s there, 50 cents in the money. Let's just see how far down it goes. We got a 44 print there. So we have this name, and I don't know. I'm thinking the market could fade out. It almost made that move that we had sort of thought there. It does come up to the 200 period moving average, so we shorted it. I mean, I'm not going to stop trading the methods that have got us to where we are. So we're going to just keep looking at this one. Obviously, if we break too much higher than this 169.50 area or so there on AMD, then we are wrong. But again, we talked about a market rebound. It's just so stupid to have not been long. I always feel like it's so much easier to counter trade. All right, so that's 169. It's easier to get filled when you're counting.
Well, it's easier to get filled. It's easier to find levels.
Yeah, exactly. 169.70. You just have to believe that the market's going down, and I'm not, I'm not super convinced that is happening. So that high that I was trying to find there on AMD is that wick, and I'm fine holding it to that 169.60. So we'll have to take a little bit more. Hopefully this falls. We'll have to take a little bit more shares into that level. Let's try like a 169.25. Let's try like a 169.30 if that comes up there. So we'll try it. We'll sit there in case that's a thing. And then we are bidding some AMD down at 168 teens. Down into here to get filled ahead of VWAP. So here it comes down in, hopefully for AMD as this market maybe is starting to turn a little bit. I don't know. Here comes Tesla. Let's put something on the bid. I just realized we didn't have anything down there at 90 where we just bounced. So let's put a 90 bid, and I know it's only 30 cents, but there it is. It rejected it, right? So Tesla looks to be pretty strong here as the market's trying to figure it out. My out on this one is around that 186.50 marker where we've been dancing there. So hopefully we can get a push back in. It looks like this is a 70-cent winner right now for advanced micro devices. I'm going to cancel my 168 teens bid. We went to 168.20 there. I was at 168.17. So again, just random prices look like they're going to hurt your boy here. Let's see if we fade out a little bit more. We're now at 168.24. 10 more cents down. This is pretty violent here today, but I like it. Let's see what happens now on all of these names. Oh, AMD, come on, dog. That would have been nice to get that fill down there at the 20s. All right, there it is. All right, nice move down for Tesla. We just get that fill. We're kind of just chilling, man. It's too bad that Google, we have one losing trade today. It's Google. Let's see if, and Tesla, but this is position pending. We just got a fill on Tesla. Let's go to the desk.
Yeah, a bit of weakness for this market. Down now almost 1.5%. We did get that stronger than expected CPI print, 3.1 year-over-year CPI versus 2.9 expected. So definitely impacting the market a bit, though. Certain names are trying to get a move back up here. Earnings absolutely still in watch, especially going into tonight. Airbnb among one of the names that is going to be reporting tonight. So definitely keep an eye on that. Earnings and inflation data definitely playing a big role in the market movement we're seeing this week. Shopify, one of the earnings names that reported this morning, actually beat on EPS and sales, initially trading lower, now trying to climb back to the upside, down about 7% right now. JetBlue, even despite the movement to the downside in the market, still up about 11.5%. Carl Icahn disclosing an almost 10% stake in the company in a regulatory filing. Last but not least here, another earnings-related name, DataDog, initially also fell in earnings because of some weaker revenue forecasts, but actually reported inline EPS and a sales beat, now just slightly negative today. DDOG, guys.
Carl.
That happened again. Oh, so we got out of Tesla there. We were able to get one fill, and that was it. So I'll just show you Tesla. We were able to get one fill there and then out at the flat break. So yeah, unfortunately, Tesla and Google, bad. But, you know, it happened to us again, man. AMD went all the way down into the 20s again and missed us. So we'll reshort that name and see. I'm now sitting on a little bit more aggressive. Okay, here we go. Sitting on a little bit more aggressive bids. Let's put something out here in the 50s. Like, we need to start taking 30, 40 cents because every time it runs the top, if I'm still in, I'm getting run. So that's not good. Okay, come on, AMD. Here we go. This is making it back for me right now. Nice short. We just reshorted up there at 90s. Let's see if it will finally give us the fade that we're hoping for, man. That Disney, that's too bad. We're up on Disney, but it's just hovering around. I thought this name could crack lower. I'm really glad that it's not, but at the same time, it's cracking higher. Shopify, we said we wouldn't trade this and wait for a base. We talked about it possibly basing down here. That's a risk to take that right off the open. So we're gonna have to let Shopify settle down. Look, man, I'm doing quite well here on AMD today. So let's just wait. We were patient with it. Remember I told you down a cup of coffee, made a cup of coffee. Let's see if it gets back down to the downside now. Yeah, Tesla is relatively strong. There is no doubt about
Suddenly
that.
the EVs are like, good today? We'll see. I'm now out of Mara. We took the profit and ran there. It did trail back out. Higher low got put in. It's a wipeout bottom. I'm always wary of a wipeout bottom like that at 9:30 and then a higher low because you can go absolutely like waxing to the upside. Like, so Tesla goes up. I was in Rivian short in front of VWAP. But it looks like if it fails back under VWAP, I might take another shot at this. It's relatively weak compared to Tesla. So I know Tesla's moving up, and that might have stopped me out there. But this is still a relatively weak name, down 5.5%, while Tesla hangs on to close to its highs. I mean, Tesla is almost green. If not, did it go green? Tesla came close to going green. So if I see weakness come back into Rivian, I want to stick with that one to the short side. I'm on the offer of Square for a reload. Not a reload to get back into position. We covered that short all the way at the bottom. Looking to short it back into VWAP here. So I'm going to stick with the weak names that I can find. So Rivian would be a new one, but going back to the well with Block as well. Adair at the desk.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye here on Penn Entertainment, PENN, getting a nice push to the upside right at 10 a.m. coming out that it's announced an agreement with Wynn Interactive Holdings to acquire mobile sports wagering licenses for the New York market access for $25 million. Also some context for this one, they are reporting before market open on Thursday. They have a short float of about 11.5%, PENN, guys.
Finally here, 70 cents now. Thank you, Adara, for that one. We did actually want to look at DraftKings. We actually get a fill down there, which is pretty nice of us. Down there, we got a 30. We actually got 30s. I was at 24s. I'm like, if this happens again, I'll lose my mind. So we were trying to be as patient as we could be. And I feel like we did a good job there on AMD, holding it into that short. Obviously, Tesla goes to 187 and blows that position out. Disney, I feel like, is the relatively strong name. So we'll leave that one alone for sure. Everyone's talking about Holo. So let's go over to Holo real quick for everybody out there just to see what's going on. So this name is halted again. up to $24 with a tap at 24.19. So it looks like it'll open up somewhere. Wow, this AMD just went right back up to the upside. We'll open up somewhere around 24 bucks for holo. And then there's another short. So we're just going to short this again, and then wow, make wow. And wow, face slap, wow on that one. Can we say wow again? There it is. We just went short at 05s, and we'll take a 75 fill. I mean, you guys, this is the thing about day trading. Like, I'm slowly just scalping in and out of all of this. Like, just adding it up. Like when you're going short at 169.05 and then getting out at 168.40, it's a good trade. So we could still get stopped out. We're definitely, okay, here we go. Now we're starting to get stopped out, it looks like.
NVIDIA's breaking.
Yeah, as AMD, yeah, so that's a good call there. Looks like AMD wants to go higher, and Neil just mentioned NVIDIA trying to go, but I'm just getting out of this short. See what I'm saying? Like here comes the short back in again, and I just took some bids now. So let's see. It looks like it's going to break. We're getting out if it breaks 50, but again, nice little pushback down in for AMD, and we took a little bit of advantage of that getting out as it's starting to go back up to the upside. So it looks like this short will get cracked out on AMD as well. Nice move back up to the upside here in the market, and it's AMD going through 170, it looks like.
Yeah, and I just got back into Rivian off that lower high, giving it to it's 1546, but it's NVIDIA that I was just watching here as it bounced off VWAP and is trying to crack this. It hasn't broken yet. It's trying to crack this 715 area. If it does, I don't want to be completely missing the party, but I wanted the higher lows on Intel. We've had a good read on this one lately, and closer to 43 I think should be a long. So if I can catch this off VWAP, I'm going to take a shot at this. I don't want to get, look, I'm not giving up on the notion of a short just yet. It's 10 o'clock. There's a couple of weak names out there that are holding underneath VWAP, but the things that are starting to give you, if it's higher lows and above VWAP, I don't want to be fighting it. So if it's giving you that, like this look on Square, that can still be a short. Rivian might not work here, but you know, it's still got the lower highs. It's hanging on to that lower high here at 1545, so I'll try to give that one a shot. But NVIDIA could be, if NVIDIA takes 715, it's going to drag a lot of stuff with it. And stuff's not the word I wanted to use. I don't think, okay, let's go to ARM for a second. I don't necessarily think ARM is in that other pocket either. Lower highs, I still think that name can be a short. I think I want to wait for a shot at VWAP, but let's see what NVIDIA does with 715 before we jump into anything new. I want Square. I'm on the offer right now in front of VWAP, and I got into Rivian. But ARM has to get, it's got to make a big move up because you got to, I don't want to short it here, then you're giving it what? $6, $7, $8 to the top. I want it to pop so you can short it.
Yeah, like AMD again just ran 170 again. Like, you know, you're getting stopped out, not getting stopped out of everything. But yeah, this is what I'm saying. This looks like it's going to be a scalping type of thing today. Once again, look at a firm trying to get through 40 bucks. A lot of you guys talking about this one, down 10%. Look, the worst trade of the month was me getting short 48 and getting out at 43. I think it was $4 or $5 winner, but not shorting that 50 on earnings day for a firm as it just continues to go to the downside right there, man. That DBGI, we're going to go to Adair in a second. I just want to check back on this one. 750 right there after announcing no possible offerings in 2024. I think that's probably not the truth. Well, I don't want to say it's not the truth. Probably is the truth.
I don't think if a company says, like,
I've never really seen anybody come out and say that. Let's see what Adair has to say, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I have another small cap trying to make a move here. Alt Alliance, AULT. This one is on the Amex. This is actually a penny stock here, but they announced they're anticipating utilizing their previously authorized $50 million common stock repurchase plan. A couple things to note here with context for this one. They do have a short float of about 7%, a float of about 4 million shares, and a $2 million market cap. AULT.
AULT, alt, Doug,
alt, the alt.
So I still like that square. Rivian is now working back into the pocket, but NVIDIA did not make the break. It did not make this break at 715. It got right up there to like 85, 714, 85 with no break, so you still got some resistance. ARM's not going to give you a pop here at all. I don't want to. I know what will happen if I want to short off the 130. I need to get like the halves and then give it to 131. Yeah. That's pretty much it. So if you're going to short the lower high, you've got to give it at least somewhere up here. I think this one's still a short. Rivian's what I'm in. Square's what I want. we'll have to be patient. I thought we'd get a pop there, and I thought NVIDIA was breaking 715, and that would bring some of these up to be able to short closer to VWAP.
Damn. That's too bad that we got stopped out of AMD because we just took $1 on their last short. We still have it, but that's too bad, man. And then we also had Tesla. Again, it's all about timing. It doesn't matter what you have. I mean, we had Tesla short in and around right here before ripping up into, look at this, the pre-market levels. Like that's, if there's anything today, that seems to have been pretty key right there. We're going to start a new position, but we understand we may have to try this one to hold against ourselves a little bit. Palantir's been super strong, but this move from 2460 all the way down to 2360 there, then a bounce back to the 200, and then a fail at the 200, now underneath VWAP. This is worth a try for me today, underneath VWAP. So we're going to try that right now, and we're going to see what happens. Disney long, we did mention that. Obviously, that's been a good one. We're up on Disney despite shorting it, and this is what we said yesterday. You got to be able to have outs all over the place. So we did have it out, and Disney still remains a positive stock for us. There's AMD, again, a dollar club, as you're starting to go down on a lot. Damn you. Like, as if Tesla really just cracked down below 86. Like, this didn't happen when we were short, but right now below 186 for Tesla. So some of these names starting to hopefully go. It doesn't look like Palantir wants to go, but we're waiting for more up here at 96. So just ahead of $24. I'm giving this to like a 2402 or 2403 type of break on NVIDIA, but the market is holding very well, man. I mean, we're now up quite nicely from that bottom. We said about 100 points. It goes about 80 there, and now we're trying to fade lower as we speak. So let's see if that is a possibility at all here, a fade into this market. I wanted to short Apple earlier. Again, it's like there is not much happening. Bitcoin is at 48.5, so I know you were on Mara and everything like that.
I'm looking to get back into it. I'm on the offer at 25. Zai in the chat, when does a firm go SSR? A firm's already short sell restricted. It hit 10% right there quick. Has to be something. I feel as if it got there very fast off the open. But Mara, went 26s. On that last little pop to the upside, it just wicked 25, so I'm going to short the 25 area just for a continuation play. As far as the firm goes, as mentioned, like it's 10% right now at the lows. Here we go. So it's already short sell restricted. Man, that's an SSR setup at $40 here on a firm, and I don't want to do it. I'm going to pass on that. The standard bounce play would be, you wick that 40 level, go long off 40, give it like maybe 5-10 cents underneath, and look for a VWAP or trace. That's a buck. I just don't want to be long a firm today, so I'm gonna stay away from that. It's like it's the one thing that should have been the easiest short, but I was looking in other places. So I'm not gonna try the bounce play on a firm. I'd rather get, as I said, back into Mara off the 25 level, back into Block off of VWAP. Let's see if Rivian can go to the downside. BGLC, Narod in the chat. Sorry about, apologies if I mispronounced your name there. BGLC, what goes up must come down. I'll get excited if this bounces off of VWAP and calms down, then look for some kind of a later day play once it's done with the halts to the downside. So halt down, tap 156, so halted here. Theoretical auction price here. If it can bounce in and around $1 again, I'd make that play on BGLC, but I think you're waiting for that. At least I would be waiting for that. So it's all about Mara. Can I get these 25s off of VWAP and Square as well off of VWAP? Trying to be patient. Those are the two that worked clean. Was Mara and Square, so those are the ones I want to go back to.
What's up to Luke Waters? Oh, he was here. There he is right there. What's up to Luke Waters? Says, hell yeah. Thank you so much for that one. To get that long would have been a hell yeah today for sure. We're still watching out. This Palantir is starting to go. We just got a 96 fill, which is what we wanted. We took a little, let me get rid of this. We took a little fill there at 92s or 93s just because I wasn't sure if we were going to get up to 96, and then we did. So, hey, man. I get, like, the market is doing what I sort of thought it would, man, trying to bounce in and around the 50 period, making these highs and getting faded out. We were in and out of AMD there a little bit. Let's see if that wants to work right now to the downside, possibly, yes, for this, but it's Palantir right now is got my eyes. So we're short at 89. Let's see. Okay, let's see if this wants to. Who's doing that?
Not me.
Okay. The animations are broken, I think. Oh, no. No one's
No,
hitting this.
look, my hands are up. See, I'm just immediately, I do the whole like.
That's hilarious. I don't know if we've ever seen that before. That's great. The market, is that like the market telling us something?
I use the force.
Brendo fell asleep there on the desk and his hand hit it. So, Oh, no. I don't know. Okay. No, he didn't fall asleep, just playing around. All right. So, yeah, the market is trying to get to the downside. So I like that, Brendan. Yeah, thanks for supporting that. All right, here we go. We are bidding Palantir now, but I'm going to take a little piece out. See, it just stopped at a level that we're short. If we were a little, again, patience is always going to be the key. But if we were a little more patient, then we'd already be in the money now for Palantir. So I hope this doesn't burn us. The market is dropping down in. Obviously, we have AMD short. Which is not really moving too much. Did Disney finally decide to go the other way? A little bit off the top. Google still holding around 145, and of course Tesla thinking about the dance. I feel like Tesla's relatively strong, but at the same time, it appears that Palantir is also relatively strong and not trying to make lows as well. So I'm just a little confused right now, and I feel like, I told you, remember earlier, I'm always confused. So let's just wait to see what happens at some of these levels, man, because honestly, for right now, okay, now I'm not confused. All right, Palantir, thank you for reassessing your worth and coming back down a little bit to the downside. Let's just put some more bids here, 82s, 83s. Yes, sir. This is going to be all of a sudden the number one P&L name here for me. It's Palantir, as we'll take a little bit more out on the downside. If we can get this 82 again, we'll do that because we are juiced on Palantir. So let's see if we can get some nice upside movement here, or downside movement, sorry, in Palantir. We're bidding 76s right now. We were upset about this stock and not anymore. Thank you so much, PLTR, for giving us this win.
Yeah, I just got back, and the one that wasn't working just started doing the same thing, failing VWAP here on Rivian. It just pulled back into the quarters. I'm going to get some out in the teens. Remember, on Rivian, 15 is support. So getting profit out in front of 15 is important. This is what the daily chart looks like. This is what the 15-minute chart looks like. So if you don't think there aren't buyers at 15, then we're not paying attention, or at least not close enough attention. Intel just continues to hold the line at 43, 43.10 specifically. I'm waiting for 43, and this is giving you 43.10s. So I'm going to get on the bid down here, take a shot at the lower high. For anyone who was watching a firm there, so it goes SSR, and it bounces off the 40 level. It gets all of 40 cents, and it's right back into that 40. There's probably some scalp trading in there for you if that's what you're interested in. I'm trying not to do that. And NVIDIA 715 is coming right back up here again. This is one of the strong, I know it's down 1%, it's one of the stronger names in the market, and looking like it wants to make a breakout here on NVIDIA. This local wick is like 716, so I'll probably let the buyers emerge above 15, and I'll take a shot at 16 breaks. I wanted Intel at 43, but if I can't get that, that is higher lows and a lot of pressure mounting on NVIDIA. If NVIDIA goes green, it's going to surprise a lot of people, me included. So I think at least taking a shot at the break. If it doesn't work right away, I can just get right out. But I'm looking at the 16 level because 15 just keeps wicking over and over again. If anything, you should be shorting 15s and waiting for 16 to go.
Feeling a lot better about my decision getting out of Palantir down there. Not all of it, but down near that 80 level. As we're out of half. We're only out of half of Palantir. It's starting to go back up to the upside. Let's try again. This time, let's try a 96 again, but I don't want it to rip up there and just completely fill me immediately. It's as if it kind of drifts around, fine, that's where VWAP is. But you can see the 50-period moving average is starting to sort of slope up now. So I feel like that's a danger spot there when that does happen. Shout out to technical analysis.
Okay.
What?
Like that was like I didn't even get 21s there.
Oh, NVIDIA broke higher. Okay,
it broke 16s. I couldn't even get 21s on that break. It's still sitting on the bid. So if I get picked up, I get picked up on the way back. There is no way back, apparently. Well, thank you for absolutely nothing there, NVIDIA. And that's the thing with a breakout trade is the aggression of your order, your limit order. If you use limit orders, which we do, the aggression of your limit order sometimes is going to dictate your fill or your lack of a fill. So you make a decision. I decided 21. If I decide 31, I probably am long, and it's now $1 in the money. But I just missed that fill. That kind of sucks. All right. If I get picked back up, I'll try to buy the dip. I think buying the dip back into 15s can be a bit of a thing.
Because
this market's headed to the upside. I might also look at, I need to get, maybe it's Intel, I can still grab off VWAP here.
Damn, Daniel.
All right, I might be able to grab Intel on a higher low as well, but
We shorted AMD on that pop-up.
that should have been, that was an easy break if you got it on NVIDIA. Let's go to Adara for the small cap recap.
IWM Russell 2000 here, small cap ETF, trying to get a little bit of a resurgence here to the upside, but very much down on the day, down about 4% right now, showing a little bit less recovery here, but trying to make a bit of a move up. Beamer Imaging, second day runner for this one, initially running yesterday on news of a presentation with NVIDIA. Today pricing a $12 million public offering, low float name BMR, guys. We also have DBGI, this is Digital Brands Group. This one multi-holder, but very strong to the upside right now, reaffirming its 2024 guidance revenue. Also worth noting for this one, we do have a float of under 1 million shares. It's about 980,000 shares for DBGI. Last but not least here, this one a bit of a later runner. Cartoon Channel, TOON, announcing that it's achieved record revenue and increases paid subscribers among some other updates here. This one has about an 8% short float, guys.
So there's been no pullback in NVIDIA to get in. The new position alert for me is going to be Mara 25s underneath VWAP here. Going to give it to this local high. See if we can't push back in. It's 25 multiple, like twice, down to 24.50. So I want to make sure I'm playing inside of the range if that's what it wants to give me. Intel's trying to hold VWAP here. I do like the higher lows. I just want to see buyers above 30 holding a higher low again. Otherwise, I should be waiting for the 43.10. I mean, NVIDIA, it's frustrating, but look at the clean breakout on NVIDIA. But it wasn't, if you just bought it somewhere in the trend, great. But if you tried to get that stop, I moved it from 15 to 16, which was clearly a mistake. And it's now at 719. I'm not chasing it up here. I'm not quite that bullish that I want to be buying these tops. The breakout is come and gone. I can be patient and try to join something which is a little bit more reasonable, like Intel, if it starts to hold VWAP, which it looks like it's doing.
All right. We're doing actually pretty good, man. We got to reload there in Palantir. Obviously, we'd like to see this thing down a little bit more than where it is. I'm just scalping this out at 91 and 92s right now. It just keeps on bouncing off 90s. We are well aware of this position right now. We were scalping out of this. We're almost stopped out of AMD. It's right back to the day's high. We're short right here at 170, but we just got some out there. And this, I mean, it's going to be hard to see, like I said, but these ticks are obviously a lot lower. These are 70s and 80s, and so. Again, looks like we'll be like a 1-to-1 on this one, and it sucks because here goes AMD, and we just got stopped out. So yeah, let's let it settle. We're not even like it's just these stocks just keep on going, man. I mean, we called the long and we didn't have it, so that sucks. You can call whatever you want, doesn't matter. There it is, man. So there's that 100-point move. Basically up to 17. So that's what we thought, 17.7. Maybe now the short is there, but DBGI just keeps on halting. Just opened back up a couple minutes ago, in and around this 10.50, now to 12. Again goes DBGI. All right, come on, Palantir. You're the only thing I got on, so now we got to hope for that to make a little bit of money here for PLTR. But for right now, that's the name that we're holding on to. And honestly, nothing else is really hitting any of my scanners. Like, even Palantir's not. I'm only shorting this ahead of $24, which may not hold. Amazon, we like the short. We had talked again about some levels higher than where we are now. This move up, although hard to say it wasn't thought of, I think it's just a little bit, didn't really give too many pullbacks. That's the whole thing. Like, you've had to have been basically long and sitting in there. Like, ARM is up to 132. It was just 127.
NVIDIA is now at 723.
See? What did I say?
It is absolutely flying. So I am in long on Intel off of VWAP here. I said that's at least more, like, it's steady, reasonable, pull to push to the upside, higher lows. So I'll just participate above VWAP, look to play it into 43.6. But it's NVIDIA that's, that break was pretty clean. If this continues higher, like the first available dip, I think is usually the way to go here. Like, first available dip, join the trend. It's obviously ripping some faces off. When NVIDIA is ripping faces off, you don't want to stand in front of the moving freight train. Mara might take out this local top, and I'll jump out of this and wait back for the 26 level. There you go. I had a stop order, so my hands weren't even on the keys. Do not want to give it all the way back to 26. I want to play the 26 level on its own. So the new position for me is a long, and it should have been something else. No, I can't say this enough. Like look, the more volatile things get, it's a learning experience. The more volatile the market is, or an individual stock, when you're trading for breakouts, you just might change the limit order. Like if you normally cross 20 cents on NVIDIA, you cross 30 cents when it breaks, or 35, or whatever it is. That's the adjustment that you want to make with your stop order. So when I'm missing that fill, like part of it comes down to things are a little more volatile right now. So you can't cross 20 cents when NVIDIA is $700. When it's $500, you probably get it. So you got to make that adjustment. I didn't. Clean break. Oh, somebody got it. But we're in Intel, very different type of stock. When you play off the 430, I'm getting some out when it goes 10 cents and then 15 and 20 cents because that's how Intel rolls. If you miss a stop on Intel, it's because you didn't put one in. You're never missing your level on. You're never missing your level on a stock like this. But you also have to take profits out a bit differently. It's more of a scalp trading type name. Look at Tesla. Tesla coming back in underneath VWAP. So the only reason, like I'll be fortunate that happened because the first time I took Rivian, Tesla went higher, and I got stopped out. Jumped back in when it wicked this level, and now Tesla's bringing Rivian back down. But you know what? 15 is the bid, so I'm getting out of this thing in front of 15. Take the money and run, get it back. I know 15 is that level I expect to flush into, but support's going to be right back down there again, in my estimation. So Intel, I have an offer at 43.50, and then the high here is 43.60. I'll get another offer out in front of that. Maybe should have been long here, 43.10, but you take what you can get. I wanted to see VWAP hold, and now it is.
All right. Yeah, that arm is insane. As that just keeps on going upside right now. Okay, hold on a second. That's Tesla. I was looking at Tesla because I was like, when Neil mentioned that, I was like, oh God, as if I was short Tesla. Yeah, okay, let's go over to ARM quickly. 133. So, all right, I took VWAP there. That was a nice, I guess that 130 break right there was obviously pretty good. That's the 50-period moving average. Let's see if it pulls in a little bit right now. But ARM, I don't know. I'm not really seeing, other than a long down here near 120s 8-ish, I don't really see too many levels yet for ARM. And again, it's just one of these things where we've had that huge move up. I wrote down on the sticky note 160, not that we were getting to 160, but it's that kind of action that we were trying to wait for on ARM, that kind of upside action there. So it doesn't look like it's happening. That might have been it, but again, with not that much volume, if you're going to short ARM, I think you got to wait for that one massive spike that comes through with the volume, and then maybe see that it's been topped out. Like, I don't know.
Oh, it's SSR too.
No, yesterday, no. Oh, today.
Today.
Yeah. Oh, I think you meant from second day. So it's SSR today, yeah. But first day, I guess, for ARM. I expect this one to be SSR for a minute, man. People, because, now you have 2 days, and then you have to wait for, what is it, March 10th? What was
12th, March 12th.
12th, okay, so we'll wait for that. Micron.
If they don't sell anything after the 12th, then
That's probably it.
Like, whatever. I'm not going to say, if they don't, I'll do this or I'll wear that because who the heck knows. I'm expecting there's going to be selling after that date. Like, you can't look at the valuation and all that nonsense.
Yeah, that's a sell.
About that. Let me get to Shop quickly. I just want to get to Shopify in this market rip because the support might be coming into this at 80. So if you can't get the SSR bounce off the low, maybe you can see a continuation off the next even dollar, which looks like the $80 level. All I have is Rivian. I want to get out in front of 15 on that short, try to bag the 30 pennies on that and be happy with it. Intel pressing back toward the high. So the plan of action here would be hold on to like 20% of it if it breaks the top, reload it if it bounces off of VWAP. The plan for NVIDIA is I'm not sure. The breakout was obvious. The dip could be anywhere, I guess. Maybe into VWAP, 715, 716 like before, maybe 720. We'll have to see what it does next. We'll let that one dictate. I am still, there's VWAP on square, or block, as we should be calling it. So the lower highs are still being put in on this one. It's pretty weak. I'll give this one a few shekels past the 66 level on this reload. But this market is absolutely screaming. I don't even know if I should have taken that fill. Like, it's been, block was good before, but yeah, that was 930. Now the market is showing you all kinds of, hey, reversal strength. And it's going to come back into this 17.8. And the patient trader would say, wait until the NASDAQ gets to 17.8 and then look for shorts, because that's what's obvious to me. So we're still about 20 points. Sorry, no, check that. 40 to 50 points away from sniffing distance of that level. So let's be patient here. Squared because of VWAP, but any other shorts, I'll be patient as we go to the desk for the crypto update. Should have looked at these futures.
Let's look across the board here for crypto, but also worth noting here, there is a report coming from CoinDesk. Apparently, Deribit, so this is a crypto options exchange, saw a lot of calls actually above crypto's all-time, or Bitcoin, sorry, all-time high trading points for these Bitcoin call options. So traders were actually getting Bitcoin call options 65,000, 70, 75,000. Certainly a lot of bullishness in the crypto market, and completely understandable. We did have Bitcoin cross 50,000 for the first time since December 2021 at its highest levels in over 2 years. Yesterday, I have this 5-minute chart up here, sorry, 15-minute chart. We can see where we did fall down right after getting that print for the CPI, seeing a bit of recovery here back into the 49,000, but overall, really strong look for Bitcoin leading into today with that 50,000 hold that we saw yesterday. Right now, just below that 49,000, but Ethereum still incredibly strong, up 4%, well above that 2,600 level. Solana strong, up about 3.5%. Generally pretty mixed across the board for the rest of these cryptocurrencies, but Ethereum definitely one to watch, guys.
Ethereum, all right.
ETH, baby.
We're shorting the market here. I mean, I don't. We'll take the TQs. We'll try it. Honestly, like, I don't know. I'm pretty impressed with this market. I mean, I feel like a lot of us are right now today. I mean, we called this move up. I mean, yeah, it's just stupid that I'm not long, honestly. And now I'm short the market. Like, it doesn't make it. Anyways, there it is, man. Nice move back up to the upside. Just, it's hard. I think Neil and I talked about this. Sometimes it's just hard to believe that some of these moves are what they are. And this is just another one of those examples here today, as it is starting to go right back up to the upside. But we've been destroying, meanwhile, we've been destroying right now our friend Intel, as we are short at 44. Let's see where it goes. I tried to get 50s, man. I sat there at 50s. It didn't fill. Here it is. It's a nice move back in to the downside. The Qs are finally starting to go as well. Sorry, the TQs. This is the futures. I switched over to the, wow. Okay, a little bit of a face slapper right there. Nice move on the futures. We happy with that, baby. Yeah, so far so good here as the market's pulling back just, as I said before, as 50 Cent likes to say, just a little bit. Let's see if Intel can go as well right now. I need to put some more bids out. We're pretty loaded. We're pretty juiced here. So again, frustrated with this move up, but the market goes again. Tried to play a little bit of action there. Let's see if we're right on this. It's hard to be right, but we'll see if we are. The futures are just one of those nasty things. Let's see if it pulls back. We just took some out there at VWAP. I'm going to take another piece out at 37. There it is, right there, and boom. So finally, okay. Wow, a little bit of a rough morning trying to trade or trying to chase some of these things. Like, were we wrong on Tesla? Yeah, because it goes to 187, but then the move happens against this. Like, futures rip up, Tesla does this. We're literally, this is a minute chart. We're 2 minutes off on this short, you know? I feel pretty good about Intel, though. It looks like we might have had this one again, we'll put this one in again, and Intel now
What's
nicely
hilarious,
in the money here on
we'll
Intel.
see. We talk about this all the time in trading. This is the value of day trading. I mean, certainly the flexibility of day trading, at least what I like about it. But I went long 43.30 into 43.50. I'll get the last of it out here. When it breaks down underneath break even, Sean went short 43.50 into 43.30. Now, you could actually have traded this in both directions. You could have gone long into the high and then reversed it and gone short right back into the low. That's the value of finding a range-bound trade. So, you know, you can both ways can profit. I'm jumping out of it because VWAP is the reason I got in. If I don't see buying off VWAP, I don't see any reason why I have to fight that. I don't want to be fighting things today if I don't have to. Block off of VWAP is pulling down the other way. So VWAP doesn't matter to me at 9:30, but it happened to also bounce off of VWAP before. But at this time of day, rejecting VWAP and heading back down to the lows is something that I'm going to like here. So we're going to ring the register on this once it gets back down into the 50s. DBGI, I understand the impetus that everyone wants to trade this. It halted once, made a fresh high close to 13s. It's trying to pull back into VWAP itself. That would be an interesting bounce zone, like in and around 9 to 950, like in here, pre-market highs turning into support. If it can catch a bid, that's at least worth looking at on DBGI. And the other one that I have my eyes on in the small cap space is that BGLC. When it started halting to the downside, what did I say? Wait for it to retest the $1 area. And if it can bounce somewhere in there, and not be halting it. The second it's not halting, going from halt to halt, if it can consolidate from 1 to 125, I'd look for a long off that consolidation, and then suddenly you have reasonable risk reward. When it's just open, halt, I don't, you have some specific strategy, I have no idea how you're supposed to trade that. So once it goes sideways for a bit, then I'd look for an entry.
All right, so like I said, just right there on that move, Neil was talking a little bit about Intel. We just made Intel right there the #1 stock here on the show today. So there it is, man. Like Neil said, long shorts cashing out, so that's a good one there. But I need to get out more, obviously, so let's just do that. Yeah, this is what trading's about, man. It's not the, like I keep saying, man, it's not the easiest. You gotta try to be as patient as you possibly can. That was a good out there on Intel. The TQs, we're out of half already on this move down, but we would really like to see this continue. The short hasn't been right. So to sit here and just continuously look short, I feel a little bit like, meh. All right, SMCI, if there's gonna be anything, like, you might not want to short NVIDIA, cool, I get it. But like SMCI, like up here at 790, when this name was in January, so if you go back a month, what day, I mean, it doesn't matter. A lot of things have changed in a month, but this name was $300, now up to 800. So again, SMCI really starting to get excited about itself there. AMD continues, but we're at that 172 level. I remember this from the sticky note. We really liked some 172s. So if we can get in and around like a 172, like almost exactly, I wonder if that's going to be a decent short. We've already had done quite well here on Intel, and we are out of 2/3 of this trade on Intel. I'm going to put another bid here at 33. Darn it. See how I put the bid there and just, I can't even say it without it jumping a bit. But let's just wait to see what happens there on Intel. All right, I guess we'll have to, I just tried to punch out some 36s and missed it. All right, Intel's starting to go. That's fine, we could be patient on it. We don't have a huge position there. Well, we did. All right, shorting AMD has been wrong. Okay, but this 172, I feel like we've talked about this level a couple times. Yeah, it's pretty blurry up here, isn't it? Maybe 173 is looking a little bit better. Like AMD is now green. So take that for what it's worth. What a move. And we said, remember, I made fun of NVIDIA, remember? I said what's going to happen is they're going to come in and they're going to buy NVIDIA. We talked about the possibility of that breaking through 700. It's now up $25 on that. So, I mean, yeah, did they come in and buy NVIDIA? Yes. As mentioned, they did exactly that. But we could be topping out here a little bit too in NVIDIA, 728. I don't know, man.
We're getting close to the 17.8 level on the NASDAQ.
I know. That's why I just went back into the TQ short.
Randy knows all the ways to mess with me.
We'll
like,
see.
instead of just standing there and shocking me, like now he stands on the other shoulder so that where I'm not expecting him to be.
Good job, Randy.
You're a little bit late with the Randy thing. He's been here for like 2 minutes now. I was gonna ask you about Tesla because they bought the crap out of Tesla this morning.
Out of every stock.
And by the way, where they're buying Tesla, you'll be interested in this. So 180, 175, 180 have held, but 182 has been a monster level on an open and close basis. So opens down here and closes down here have been gigantic at 182.
What a move back.
So every single time it bounces off these levels.
Called this, but I don't have any
It's
loans.
worth a look. But it's a big move up in the market. I'm still shorting Squares. I'm going to get to that in a quick little
All right,
second.
here comes 17.8 immediately.
Yeah, that 17.8's coming inbound. I'm looking for shorts at that price.
All right, so we're for flat here on the TQs again.
I got nothing.
Take the profit, get out. Like, buying dip. Like today I would have thought fading pops could have been right. Like I had never thought, like obviously we thought this, but I said 100 points up. You're now 180 points up. So, yeah. You know, CPI came and I made the comment like, you know, that's the number. Watch out for the pop. But
NVIDIA 730.
Yeah, I know. This is insane.
This is insane.
All right.
That breakout.
AMD's at a level as well. Let's go over to Adair and then we'll talk more about this market. It's 10:40.
So note here, CNBC actually discussing NVIDIA right now. NVIDIA, like most of these sectors, mostly to the downside as a group here for electronic technology. Very much downside for the chips, despite a price target increase from Mizuho for NVIDIA this morning. We also have the technology services pretty much weak across the board. Salesforce especially weak here. Finance, again, down. Health technology down. Producer manufacturing down. Retail trade down, notably Home Depot. Worth noting as well, Home Depot reporting next week. We also have some weakness here: energy, minerals, utilities, consumer durables, transportation. One of the few brighter spots here is going to be health services with UNH and ELV to the upside, and communications pretty much flat on the day here. But other than that, right across the board, guys.
All right, well, we said we wanted to short a little bit of AMD up here, so we did exactly that, up in around 172.40. It was just 40 cents in the money. We did take some of that. Let's put another bid down near O's, because look, we just got filled at 07 there on the bid, and then it ripped back to 37, the price that we're in, making me now put another bid. I put a bid lower at 03 here to see if we do take 172, but like, this is like reminding, there it is, we got an 03 there at least. This is like reminding me of like a different time where liquidity was just like so dry.
This reminds me of a market that I once knew.
Let's see, 171.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, I don't know, you should have seen it, but every time these moves come through. Yeah, so anyways, I'm rinsing and repeating. Like, I think the approach that you got to do here, like AMD's my bad stock. I'll be even on Rivian because one loss, one win. But it's like Square's continuing to work, so I'll go back to this well a third time off VWAP at 66. But look what you're getting here. You're still getting a bottom at 65, and then it's a lower high, but it's also higher low, so you're forming a wedge. So it's still in a downward trend, but when you get a wedge, you could break that wedge to the upside. And I don't want to sit in that short when the wedge breaks. The only wedge I like is, generally speaking, one of my favorite Rebel pilots. So I don't want to go long on Square, but if it doesn't hold this 66, it'll be the last short until I'll just have to sit it out until we get to 17.8 level. Maybe we can find something else at the 17.8. My first thought was, oh, well, maybe Amazon's setting up under 170. Amazon, look at that trend to the upside. I want that short. How's about no-ish? Apple at the highs. Apple 186, maybe that's a bit of a thing. I want something underneath VWAP to short, not screaming into the highs. When we get to that 17.8, I'm going to look for something that I can fade that's weak. Right now, that seems like Rivian and Square. That's why I keep looking at them. Everything else I have to short pops on, which is a strong stock. I'd rather short something relatively weak.
Yeah, that's going to be the right idea. And again, we just go in and out of AMD again, and we try to get the short, and it's wrong, and there's the rip back up. So we're right at 17.8 right now. Like, I am like really, and I know, like Neil said, man, I know it's been a tough day here, but this, you know, you got to really think about some of these levels coming through again as possibility to sort of slow down at some point here. But they just, like, that's... Wow, we could be down so much more. Like, look what AMD has done today. That bottom was it's almost, this is crazy. On what was a CPI print that was not supposed to be good. This number just keeps on going up, 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 up. Like, wow, what a day here for the market, man. The TQs, let's just have a quick look at those. Again, this is a cup of coffee, honestly. We didn't even lose, well, we lost on it, but it barely. But let's see if we can find some levels. There's that 17.8 right there, 58,000. I mean, are we going to be more stubborn on all of this, man? Disney, yeah, that was the one thing. Yeah, see, that's what it's all about, Matthew. I know you got taken out there, but you can make up everything with one good trade, right? So, and I agree with you, Matthew. So you got to sit in some of these trades and sometimes wait a little more than you had thought initially for something to happen. That 17.8 is right here, right now. Is that where some of the FOMO comes out? We'll see. We're short the TQQ here. See if this one can get a little bit back into VWAP, or that's almost $1. It is $1. to get back to VWAP. So there you go. If that could happen, then yeah, then we're a little laughing over on this side. But I don't know if that's what's going to be the case here, as now the market finally starting to pull back just a little bit. We did reshort the TQs up there, but yeah, patience pays. And today, it didn't really pay that much, because if you waited for key levels, it kind of still ran you over. All right, here we go. We are now short the TQs, a dime piece in, but we want a little bit more than that. Let's take our first out in and around 45 if we're lucky enough to get that.
Yeah, so there was a question in the chat. Someone's like, why aren't you looking for longs? It's not a matter of, oh, I was looking for longs. I was calling out the 716 breakout on NVIDIA. I just didn't get filled, and I put that on myself, and it's fine. Like, I was not aggressive enough with my breakout order. Then I made the decision not to chase it up here and take that long. I went over to Intel, went long off of VWAP, which I'm inclined to give another shot off of VWAP here. So, we took 2/3 out on the way up to 43.50. It then stopped out when I turned bearish again. But I think if it holds VWAP, I jump back over or wait to 43.10. It's about finding the trades and the levels you like. When we're at 17.8 on the NASDAQ, my plan of action was at this level to look for previous support to turn into resistance. So when we get there, I want to find something weak, which was block, and short it if I can find an entry point. So the answer was yes, I found an entry here at 66, and I'll play this back down toward that low. So you're just here to look for setups and look for trades. If I was some kind of an intraday swing trader, maybe I'd only be thinking long. Maybe I just look, that's a wipeout bottom, and I'm just going to hold longs all day long. That's not my style of trade. I tend to look for key price levels, and when you get to a support or resistance, I tend to want to cover out in front of those and take the profit, or look for retracement trades. If I found something short off the high of the day, I'd be playing it into VWAP. Thankfully, there's a few things under VWAP that I think are worth shots at the short. But Intel now all of a sudden doesn't want to give me VWAP off that bid. It's a little too patient with that one. But I'm going to pop back on the bid here, see if we can't get that one. If the futures pull back, I want to be buying the dips on this. And as far as buying dips on NVIDIA goes, I probably am throwing VWAP out the window with that and starting to look back into the quarters. Just wherever it looks like it's going to consolidate or bounce, it's probably worth a shot there. Intel's a little closer to an entry that I can wrap my head around. Thank you, Mr. Westermeyer, for the super chat. We appreciate you. As always, anybody out there, we don't even ask you about we're not here asking for money or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a couple bucks just to get our attention. We appreciate you, Mr. Westermeyer. Alts, these types of runners, my general rule is do not buy the highs. It's my 2 cents. Do you, at this particular point, now it doesn't even want to, there we go. I'll just pop my 15-minute chart. You've already gone to the most obvious next level up and turn around, which is the mid-70s. So when that happens, look to the next significant level for a dip. 60, that's like 60 cents here. If it can hang on somewhere between 58 and 61, 62, that would present a reasonable dip buy zone. So that ends up being VWAP as well. So this can fall back in, hold sideways there. I'd be looking for longs in and around 58 to 61 off a VWAP dip, then play back into the highs, as opposed to buying tops.
All right. The TQs is now the #1 net name here, but I've said that a lot, and then it's blown back up. So let's wait to see, man. We've got the Qs short. We're only 10 cents in the money, but we just took some out in the mid 60s there, high 60s is where we're at now. Let's put another bid there as well and see if we can't get out of more of this here. I don't know, man. I feel like the futures, this is a play against 17.8. So I'm going to now hold this as we're now out of about 40%. I do have another bid at 66. So if that holds, if we get filled there, then we get filled there at 66. Come on, TQQs. I don't know why you're holding that bid for some random reason. Okay, so here we go, man. 57.20. If it comes back to 57.20, then we're pretty much green on the day. So let's see if that does come through again here right now. So hopefully this will go back for us just a little bit. Intel's been great. Intel's my #1 stock today, like we said there. It will be, position pending on the TQs right now, but Intel will be the best name for me. But the TQs is trying to do that as well. So we'll see for a pullback, man. Honestly, I'm going to bid some at 40 right now. Actually, I'm at 51. So if that pulls back, then yeah. But it's hard for me to have this kind of a winner, which doesn't seem like that much to you guys, but even 15 cents on this is good enough for me. It's hard to have this, stare at it, knowing that the long has just been so right, and here I am short the NASDAQ. So this is a little bit of a tough one here. We'll go over to Adara, and hopefully by the time we get back, the market has corrected down a little bit, but not looking like it. What's up, Adara?
USD very much to the upside. Here's the DXY on the daily, getting a nice boost from that higher than expected year-over-year CPI print we got this morning for January, 3.1% versus 2.9% expected. So definitely sending the market into a shock and giving the DXY a nice boost. Continuing to see higher highs and higher lows starting in late December here. Also worth noting, we do have some other economic data coming up this week. Tomorrow we get December's PPI print, and then on Friday, we get January's PPI print. So interesting distribution there. We also get Michigan consumer sentiment on Friday and some retail sales numbers tomorrow. Fed speak throughout the week, although nothing big coming up for today. Definitely some Fed speak tomorrow, including Bostic, and throughout the week there, guys. So lots to keep an eye on with regards to the USD.
At the end of the day, like sometimes, like 17.8 happened. We talked about the plan of action when the market got to 17.8. I'm going to what was working at a level that's working in the stock that is weak. So it's 66, it's VWAP on square. It ends up being a lower high from we had it earlier, but it plays the same range. It goes 66 to 65, 60. That's now twice it's made that push. And if we fall from here, we can get the low of the day on a stock which is trending to the downside. Rivian, I didn't get the VWAP push on Rivian, just missed it in the 30s, but we'll look for the 15 out. 15 has been a wall, a brick wall since November of last year, and then a higher low just recently. So if it holds 15, I'm jumping out of the trade. If it breaks 15, we can always talk about that as a separate trade at that particular point. So it is what it is. Look, this hollow, because it's hologram something, is the latest in the what the heck is going on stock. So just to report, I thought it was about to go into a halt. It didn't. It's breaking highs of the day. So sometimes when the market is red, you get a lot of these low float runners starting to go. So hollow, just another one of them. It does a halt. You guys can ask. I'll let you guys know what the tap is. And I'm not looking to trade that. I'm going to stick to Square. I'm going to stick to Rivian. Buy that dip on Intel. Really, it's just been AMD that was any trouble, but everything else, if you stick to the plan, has been pretty solid. The miss on NVIDIA obviously sucks. What can you do about that? But that stock's too far up for me to want to buy this high.
Yeah, just like we're talking about it here, guys. I'll be red today, but I just want to tell you guys that like today, the office as opposed to what yesterday, it's like today was a much, much harder day to trade, So if you are red today, I know you guys are watching us thinking like, where's all the winners? But at the same time, it's like today's a little bit more of a difficult day, than yesterday. So, and I'm just telling you from my experience and from the guys behind us as well, and just seeing what some of the nets are. So, okay, so that's what that is right now. Tesla, 184.25, man. Like this one was just a couple minutes away, but I still want to get back on this name. I think like this 182 has held so good that could be something. Again, if we do drop into that, and then yeah, man, I'm loving some Disney. This is great. Like we talked about this as being a long. I should have just punched it. Too many rose-colored glasses to the short today. But again, Disney, like this has been a name where I got some out there on earnings day, and I think it was in and around like 111. It could be somewhere around here as well. But what a day for Disney. Like definitely missing some kind of a story as this continues to go up, man. So I mean, today we'll have like I said, like the number one name is TQ's P&L wise. I think number 3 is going to be Disney. So we do have some good names. Oh no, sorry. 1 is TQ's, 2 is Intel, and then I think you have Rivian or something, and then we have Disney right there as well. But AMD is the worst trade today, and that's on me because Every single thing there seems to have been a hit. It's not a huge hit, but it's enough to be the worst stock today. So AMD, we do tend to make good on that, but we got some revenge at least on the sector here a little bit with Intel, but again, not great there for AMD. So yeah, I would hope that the TQQs could fall back, chill vibes, but I'm bidding 57 again. The lowest it got there was 53s or something. Let's see if we can break, man. I do think we could get back to VWAP. I mean, this market, I mean.
Look, we've held the range so far.
Wow.
The 17.8 has actually held.
Get down.
So on the NASDAQ. But I'm out of Rivian. I'm going to follow that plan. Like I said, my style is always going to be, if it's an inside range and I can play it in that morning trade, that's what I'm going to do. Went 1 for 2 on Rivian today. Square is the one I'm going to hold on to for the absolute low. That's been weak the entire time. So it's, again, you've got to trade your own book. NVIDIA is still absolutely flying. I know alts, everyone keeps asking about alts. It is halted at 88 cents with a tap at 88 cents. So it's indicating it's going to open back up at 88 cents. So if you guys, I'll let you guys, well, I guess it's 11:55. It might not open until we send you guys over to the midday. I'm sure Sharif will be on this one. The dollar level is always a significant one. It never pulled back into 61, but that was just my plan of action. I wouldn't have gone long up there, but it would have worked out for you if you did. On this next little dip to the downside, maybe you get a shot at something like an NVIDIA, but the short's finally starting to come in. It's been tricky. The only thing I regret is, outside of missing NVIDIA, is AMD, because what ended up working this morning was sticking to the weaker stocks, shorting them, but I made a second attempt when it was putting in higher lows. That's why AMD's red for me. Shorted the first level, it put in higher lows, no need to short that. It's higher lows. If it's lower highs, that's fine. If it's the same level and it's forming a sideways action, that's fine. But when it's showing you an upward trend, that's why it's red for me. That's a rule that I broke on my own, but that's why it'll be red on AMD. Kept it in the pocket, but it would have been better to go away from that and into something else. And speaking of something else, one last one before we go back over. I'll throw it back to you. ARM. ARM never even got to VWAP this last little time. So if NVIDIA rolls over, ARM feels like it could just be the stairs to the downside for the rest of the day. Oh, I just got Intel off of VWAP. We did mention I'll take that one again. Giving it to this local bottom here. So this time I'll give it 6 or 7 cents instead of, I think I gave it like 4 or 5 last time.
All right, just because I see people on the chat, today, we have a lot. There's a lot of green names. Anyways, Disney, Intel. For me, Disney, Intel, the Qs are all green, and they're pretty good. Tesla is going to be red. We've talked about that, which is kind of crazy for me. Palantir is going to be red. Not as bad. It's going to be AMD is going to be red, and Google is going to be red. But like I said, it's party on, baby, because right now the TQQs, we've just made back half of everything we lost, and we're just still holding it. So we get another piece out right now on this one, as there it goes, man. And a shout out to everybody in the chat that was like, hey, it's one, all you need is one. And there it is right there. So boom, our day's feeling a lot better now that we've got this one. And then of course, like I've already said, Intel will be the number 2. So TQ's number 1, Intel number 2. And then we're both on Intel, of course. And then AMD, like Neil mentioned, I feel like, and I'm glad that Neil talked about it because it was very, very tricky for me anyways. And the same thing there. Like, I thought this 170 was going to hold. We're making. Everything was fine here. It's really just like this one that really sucked. This last 170 hold that broke up, and we wound up getting out there at I tried to give it a little more room, 170.50. That sucked. So that move there kind of sucked. And then this pullback was fine. So it's too bad we're still not in it. But honestly, guys, we're making it back right now on the TQQs. So all of a sudden, what turned out to be, a struggle day there on some of these NASDAQ names, we just go right back over to the futures. And like I said, this is about being honest, right? You guys want honesty on the channel. I told you yesterday this was the worst name between anybody trading anything on the show. And now today it's the best. So there's that. That's the kind of disclosure that you got to continue, like Neil said, man. Trade your book. Yesterday we were a little early on it. We were early on it today, man. It was red, and then boom, right back down. So let's see if and again, why did that happen? We opened up the NASDAQ chart, and I wanted to take one more shot at it, and I think it was pretty reasonable because if you're seeing right here, there's that 17.8. Right there, that's 17.6, right? So there's the top, and then you level it up right there, that's 17.8. So like we hadn't broke it. We didn't break it here, we didn't break it here. We came 5 handles away from breaking it today. So that was like a really, this last trade was a really tight one. But again, pretty decent one to have that one right back there. Before we go over though, we gotta have everybody's favorite segment. All right. Yeah, lunch is going to taste a lot better now that this market's coming back down. But if you said grilled chicken again, you saw the chicken over on the desk. You are going to have a winner chicken dinner right now. It's fresh thyme and lemon grilled chicken, so it seems to be pretty healthy there. With what seems
well, you see the end though.
With what seems to be on our plate every day, country potato salad.
It's the last.
And traditional, this might be okay, traditional Caesar salad. So I will be out, I don't really like the potato salad around here. We'll be out there, and then we'll see about that Caesar. We'll see, I like the croutons.
I'm like very particular about Caesar salad. To the point that I, like 90% of the time, I just don't like it. Like I like it, it's like it should be very light.
Yes.
If I'm
this
out,
is light.
Sometimes I find
that,
sometimes they do a little
own dressing on.
Yeah, sometimes, but even like the dressings too, like it's too dense. I don't know the best way to explain. I'm not a.
I get it. Yeah. There's light Caesar dressing.
It's 11 o'clock. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. This market is nowhere near to be done. I mean, you got earnings after market, which I'm sure everyone cares more about Robinhood than anything else after market. That's not true. But stick around. We're going right over to the midday. It's Sharif and Adara already.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your girl Adara.